Impa Kasanganay first captured the world's attention in a way that no fighter wants to. But instead of letting that moment define him, he used it as fuel.
I'm going to go for it as hard as I can in life.
He embraced the lessons and the humility that come from falling hard and rose stronger because of it.
I'm going to go to battle, go to war. I could care less about dying.
From living out of his car to standing inside the cage with the best in the world and eventually becoming a world champion, Impa's journey is one of greatness.
You die? Okay, that's sad. But to live your whole life and actually have never lived, what's the difference?
Beyond fighting, Impa is driven by business, photography, and riding motorcycles, chasing freedom, flow, and the courage to commit fully to the adventure. The soul of an artist in the heart of a warrior. This is Impa Kasanganay. Now let's dive in. I want to give a shout out to my amazing sponsor, Rider Justice. There's a lot stacked against us as riders. The unpredictable things that can happen out on the road, and there's a general negative perception of motorcyclists in the courts when something unfortunate happens. Thankfully, there's someone out there who's been fighting for us, like really fighting for over 25 years, and that's Scott O'Sullivan of Rider Justice. Scott is not just a lawyer, he's an advocate for riders. The kind who shows up to rallies, sits on nonprofit boards, gives free legal advice to riders in need, and truly fights for our rights. He launched Rider Justice to stand up for all of us, on the road, in the courtroom, and in our culture. If you've been hurt in a crash, if you've lost someone, or if you just want to know your rights as a rider, go to riderjustice.com. Welcome to Ride Beyond. This isn't just a podcast about motorcycles. It's a celebration of the passion, creativity, and untold stories of the people who ride them. I'm your host, Ben Giese, and I've spent the better part of my life on two wheels, traveling the globe and building relationships with some of the most talented and inspiring people out there, each one with a compelling story to tell. The motorcycle is our connection, but the stories, that's what takes us beyond. You're my first guest since moving to Florida. So
When did you move?
2 weeks ago.
Oh, shoot. First, hey, I'll take it.
Yeah. It's funny. I was like dreading coming down here in the summer,
Right.
because everybody was telling me how hot it's going to be. And it is hot, but it's kind of funny. Today's overcast. It's a little bit more cool. But it's funny because I did a whole round of interviews before coming here in California, and it was way hotter.
Right.
It was like 110 out in the desert. And
Where in California did you go to?
all over Southern California,
Okay.
Especially when I was in like Joshua Tree and like
I want to go
Mojave
there.
Desert. Like it was hot. It was like 110
Yeah.
in this black trailer. Yeah.
I went there for the first time. I was like, golly, I thought it'd be cool and chill.
Yeah.
Oh, it was like 102, 100. So here it's only been like 93. I feel like I've seen the hottest in the past few days, but it's humid.
Yeah.
You have
It's
dry heat over there.
the humidity.
Yeah.
I walk outside like I was working on my garage yesterday. You're good, man. I know you're getting ready for fight week.
Are we filming right now?
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah. Dude, you can move around as much as you want.
Gosh. As I've been trying to roll it
I
out.
train a little bit too, and I understand like
What do you do? Like boxing, jiu-jitsu? Or?
No, I don't do martial arts.
Mm.
I just work out. I just
Okay,
like
cool.
to be fit and,
Yeah, fair
and
enough.
stay in shape.
That's awesome.
But
I
I totally feel like when you got a knot and you
Oh
just
my
can't
gosh.
get comfortable.
That one, I
Kinda
try to
the
get it
worst.
worked on. I think it's like, you wake up in the morning too, it's tight. I'm so sorry, everybody.
Have you ever used like a lacrosse ball?
I literally have a baseball on me right now.
Yeah, it's the
Yeah.
best. Yeah, that's the best.
I have baseball and I use lacrosse ball. I was so right. But I was just like, oh my gosh. It's just because like I don't know the way I'm sitting, but I apologize. I got this. Ready?
Well, and I know that you're getting ready for fight week next week.
Yep.
So, dude, I'm stoked you
Appreciate
took me
Oh, it's an honor.
took some time for me just in the middle of preparing for a fight, and you have this phrase that's kind of guided your life that I really love. Commit to the adventure.
Oh, yeah.
Can you explain what that means to you?
Oh man, it's funny. What this is the cool part about your studio setup. So I used to live on a farm in like Doral, so it's like west of Miami, probably an hour and a half from here, hour, depending on traffic, right? And I lived in a trailer on the farm. Then I moved into a year. I lived in the forest for like pretty much a year. All I had was my motorcycle. I had the 2006 Triumph Scrambler, and I'd come all the way up here to Deerfield Beach just to train, and I loved it. But I would still help guys, coordinate them in fights. I would train. Didn't tell anybody I was living on the farm, or I was living in my car before. Car got messed up. I was like, whatever. Had the motorcycle. I had DoorDash on it, and I've always had a dream. Like, I want to work with motorcycles one day. So I was sitting on top of the barn, and the phrase just came in my brain because I was like, man, you're on some adventure, and I was just like thinking. I was like, my fight name's Chilobo, which my dad gave to me, which means mighty warrior unto God. And so I first started as Chilobo's Trek. This is my journey. So I was kind of document little pieces here and there, and figured I'd get into that, and that became like a whole story. And I just
Can you get into that story? You just kind of mentioned really quickly that you moved off and lived on a farm.
Yeah. So
what was that all about?
I moved to Florida December 3rd, 2020. I live right down the road in Deerfield Beach called Tivoli Apartments. In the UFC, I got released. Pretty good life, there's so many different things. Like, you think you're gonna get married, you did some stuff, and then life just kind of starts spiraling. So I started working as a bodyguard, doing like some private security work. I went to this school in California, right? Pretty cool. Graduated top of my class, all this stuff. But the one thing I said is do not let me travel because I have to train or don't hire me. That's kind of like our deal. And then they wanted me to travel. So we kind of came to a standstill, and I was like, I just got to focus on my dream of being a fighter, and I started training when I was 24, then the UFC about 26. So it became like this pretty fast progression, right? And you want to do a lot. You want to help your family, you want to help other people, but sometimes you forget yourself too. And I was just going, so you kind of mismanage things, but training really well. One of the best gyms in the world. It was Sanford MMA at the time. Now it's Kill Cliff, and just kept progressing. And then before you know it, you're living in your car in the parking lot of the gym. And I was figured out. So the head trainer there at the time, or still, but Henry Hooft, he was like, "Are you living in your car?" I was like, "No." And
why were you living in your car? Just because you didn't have another job?
I kind of had another job, but then I realized I was never home. I always worked at this restaurant called Kapow Noodle Bar. I'd always drive to the West Coast to train with a train in Cosmo, and then I'd always get home super late. So I thought I was putting money into an apartment that I was never in. I just kept running out. You're waiting for a fight. You're not making much money fighting yet. My focus is always to be a champion. So I just go all in, be pretty simple. So I would start door dashing on my motorcycle, and I'd bounce, I'd hold the drinks in one hand. I'd be riding, try to switch. And that was a mission. Try not to hit any railroad tracks. Start trading clients. And I was like, man, I'm saving more money being in here. And I could still keep my life. I didn't tell my family. Nobody really knew. I didn't tell them at the gym. I'd just wake up really early, brush my teeth at the gym, shower, hit the bag, and just beat it myself. So I had a lot of peace at that time, and it was weird. From there, I've always wanted to be off grid, and that's where the idea for the farm came. So Matt Santos, they owned Soul City Farm, and I always asked him, "Can you teach me about farming? I want to have my own farm. I want to have my own crops one day. I want to hunt, grow, and cultivate everything that I eat one day." And he's like, "Man, you can come here and intern." I'm like, "No, you might as well live on the farm. There's no electricity." I'm like, "I don't care. Just let me go on the farm." He ended up getting a trailer, super great guy, beautiful family. From there was some other people start coming, and then they had the yurt, right? And I was like, "Cool, let's do this." You always said you want to live off grid, so we built a yurt, and it came from there. Had fights, waiting on a fight. I went to Wales, right, to help my teammate get ready. Came back, was still on the farm.
Were you working on the farm?
Yeah, a little bit, mostly helping out, protecting it, because little coyotes would come. We had a Burmese python try to kill the chickens on the farm.
So how would you protect it? Would you kind of patrol around on a four-wheeler or something and just look for animals on the bike?
Yeah, it's you rev the bike up, and you start I'd pull up around the farm. It was a really cool spot, and you see the coyotes would run away, or the snake was on the farm shot it, or it was just some farm just It's some fun
Florida
stuff.
shit, man.
Right, yeah, for real, like real Florida man stuff. And I'm at the meantime, none of my family knows this is going on. I'm just over here like, oh, I felt so bad when my mom and dad came and visit me. Like, because they ended up getting that vehicle that I had, the car, they fixed it up and now it's theirs. But I remember they came, mom was like, where are you living? I'm like, down this trail over here. This was, she's like, oh my gosh. I felt so bad. I said, don't worry. You a little bit more time, I'll be a champion. And
Well, she was probably would have been more upset seeing you in your car than in the yurt.
Right,
At least
I
you
don't
kept
know.
that secret.
She was not, I don't know which one it was. She was upset. She was like, you're crazy kind of thing. Like, she told me once, she's like, I don't know how you think or why you think the way you think, but I love the way you think, you know? And my parents are amazing because, I mean, I started, funny enough, right? I started training after college pretty much as I was finishing. I studied accounting and finance. I had an internship. I was planning to get my CPA. And I took a fight after 3 weeks of training and I was like, you know what? I'm going to do this. They tried to give me promotion, this like fintech company.
You're trying to be an accountant, or you were an accountant?
I was
an accountant.
To start off, before I started fighting, and I either figured I'd go military. My goal was I'd go special ops some sort, or fight, or get my CPA. CPA was definitely on the back burner. I didn't want to do that. And the first trainer I had said, should I go to the military or keep fighting? Or
why was it between the military and fighting? Was it just you wanted to have something that was like...
When I was a little kid, I used to pray, could I be a warrior at another time? Like, I love gladiators. I love reading about them. I'm literally reading a book right now, or audio book about like great commanders and people like Alexander the Great, you know, just different warrior nations, and just kind of going over how they built their nations, like their ruthlessness, their strategy, the way they learn from other countries. And as I build your life like an empire, right? Like be the warrior, be the artist, understand finance, understand all that, understand languages, right? And a lot of these people from back in the day would do that. So I kind of like apply that to my life.
The warrior mindset.
The warrior mindset, really.
Love that.
So that's what it came for me.
I mean, as a fighter, you kind of have to have that warrior lifestyle. You're truly living it. What does it mean to you to be a warrior, to have a warrior mindset, and to live the life of a warrior?
Oh yeah, like, we're talking about commit to the adventure. It's like you're on this adventure in your life. And I always tell people, it's like, you see us in like everyday clothes, you know, start the foreign radical, right? Yep. I think so many people try to fit in the same bubble, the same box, right? Like, say if like Ice Cube trade, everybody just tries to look the same. But God didn't make us the same, right? I say, honor God, do your job. And when I say commit to the adventure, that's what it is for me. I had like a moment when I was a kid where I would just like watch like these fighters. I used to watch Uriah Faber, right? I wasn't even allowed to watch fights, so I turned the fights off in the room and I was like, man, what are these guys doing?
You weren't allowed? Your parents?
I wasn't allowed. It's too violent, they said. So I would literally watch fights in the room, and I would switch to like Discovery Channel or some kids show. I played tuba. I went to art school. I thought I was going to play music my whole life. And I got to high school, started playing sports, played football and college football, high school football. I played football in senior high school, played college football. After college football, I just started fighting. But being a warrior, to me, is like always taking on the new challenge. Like, I didn't care if I started late. I didn't care if they said like you shouldn't do it, right? Because I think people try to tell you. I heard that it was like Cody Sanchez. She talks a lot about business. She said a lot of people will tell you what you shouldn't do because it's just like a reflection of what they didn't go for, right? And I think the warrior doesn't ask that question. He doesn't say, or she doesn't say, this is what you shouldn't be or shouldn't do. They just commit to it and they go for it. You do great, awesome. You fail, awesome. You just learn from it and you move forward. And that's to me what's being a warrior about. That's why I love fighting, you know?
And it's interesting too, because you have like this balance between, like, you kind of referenced the warrior and the artist. And there's like this strong, aggressive warrior mentality. And then there's this like sensitive, introspective artist view of the world as well.
Yeah.
That kind of maybe balances you out a little bit.
In a sense, yeah, I would say it does. It's like, I don't know. I think there's that artistry, that there's this harmony between it. Like, I love art. I love design. I love being on skateboard, surfing, you name it. I don't try to be like this like extra tough fighter or person. Like, and that's where it comes off weird. Because I think that's like almost fake. Like, so many people try to be like this
macho, tough,
macho,
like, overcome. You like almost when you're good at what you do, you don't need to overcompensate.
Yeah,
you know your craft. You don't need to scream and you know, like, let the actions do the talking.
Right.
You know what I mean?
let success be the statement, right? People always have a comment to say, like, and I think they watch your life or somebody else's life, and they, like I said, they might see what they didn't do themselves, or they'll see what they never seen anybody else do, so they're gonna try to tell you, and they try to act all like, people try to act gangsters. There are real gangsters in the world for sure, but there's some people also who are just like, it's so like,
Comes off as insecure sometimes.
yeah,
When you're overcompensating with being really loud and talking too much shit. It's almost like
right.
coming from a place of fear or insecurity or something.
That's so true. I think so many people come from this like this fearful place, right? And then fear tries to control people. Fear tries to it paralyzes people. Fighting is peaceful for me, which people think it's like this like thing. You guys think no, it's like it's very like peaceful. There's no nerves. It's just this like walk into the cage, do what I love.
Even like right now, you're a week out from a fight, and you're gonna get into the ring with another beast.
Right. Yeah.
And you guys are gonna like essentially fight to the death.
Yeah.
And you're not nervous.
No, I'm excited. I'm at peace. I'm excited. I'm prepared. Right. It's like this. It's a conversation. It's a conversation in a different way. It's pure, right? You know what I want. I know what you want. Let's go. I'm gonna go get it. Right? I like what Marshawn Lynch said. He's crazy, but he said, I know I'm gonna get got, but I'm gonna get you more than I get got. Right? And it's just funny. It's like the worst. Obviously, English is not the best grammar ever. But the truth is, it's like, yeah, you're gonna go for it. And anytime you go for something special in life, you might get got. I'm not worried and nervous about that. Then if like that's the reason you shouldn't even step in the cage. Like I get to put on 4 ounce gloves. I get to take all the training and the preparation and the beating and the forging and the refining of your body, your mind, and then you get to apply the strategy, and then you have to adjust and change your tactics throughout the fight. Like there's nothing like that. But when you claim that victory, hands are raised, and you see your family love, you thank God, you thank your family, thank the ones you love. There's nothing like it. There's nothing like it. And that for me gives me just another sense of joy. You know, the past year has been amazing and so many challenges too, right? So I look at that, like, that's why I was a lead on the saying, like, commit to the adventure. I just tell myself that it's like, no matter where you're at in life, just commit to it, see where God takes you. Like, you have grace when you need it. You have patience and blessings when you need them. And one of the biggest things I think I learned in the past year is like, nobody's going to work for your dreams as hard as you will. And a lot of people won't work for their dreams as hard as they say they will. So like, if you're a person who's working for it, don't be nervous. You're there for a reason.
Well, dude, and you put in that work, and that's why you're not fearful when you're going into the ring. Cause you know, like, I did everything I could to prepare for this. I'm as ready as I can be. I did the hard part already.
Right. Yeah.
So like, what am I nervous about? I put in the work.
100%.
You know?
I have, gosh, there's so many teammates, guys that challenge you. Like, you want training partners to beat you up. You want guys like you can get after them. They can be like, because that's going to give you that real look. And a lot of people in life, I think they lean away from what makes them uncomfortable. Right? They always try to lean towards the comfort or what's easy, or
You almost want your training to be harder than the fight.
100%, right? My trainer Dieter, he's always coaching against me. Telling the guy, do this, do that, do this, do that, to make it hell for me in the training, which I appreciate because that's what's going to help you truly refine to who you want to become. And I love that part of it, right? I love that challenge. I love that day to day, right? I almost get like annoyed with training when it becomes like easier. You're going with somebody like, man, like what's the point of like, you walk in every day, you're going to get yelled at, you're going to get cussed out, you're going to push, you're going to do this. And then it's like, but you weren't challenged. At least, and that's probably where like the military aspect, always of the warrior culture came from. It was like, I want to go somewhere where I'm always challenged. I always see challenges as an opportunity versus seeing it like as like a, well, that's going to destroy me. And I figured if you're going to do something, go to the highest level you possibly can at it. And that's what it became. So every time you train, so like when you get to the fight, you're like, finally, let's go. Like,
yeah,
right, you're like, finally, like this is what we've been sharpening and getting challenged every single day for. You come home, you sleep, you think about it, you wake up, you go again. I think people try to be too normal. Like, there's no need to be. Like, no person's normal. Like, I think it's so cool what you're doing. Like, the fact that you pull up in this trailer and you go for it. Like, when you see somebody else make an excuse of why they don't have this or why they're not going for that, I can only imagine the sacrifices that you took to create this. And it's an honor to be here. And like, even just to say like ride beyond, I'm just like, oh, that's really, really, really cool. And I don't know, they're just affirmation for me. Like I always said I want to do something in that moto industry. I've always wanted to, and like to sit here and talk with you like this, like means a lot. So
Dude, that's cool.
Thank you.
I love you're a little bit unexpected. You know, I wouldn't expect an MMA fighter to be so passionate about moto. You know, it's a pretty unique. How did you get into two wheels and this love of riding?
It's funny, my mom's gonna lie, but it's my dad's fault.
How's that?
So sorry, bro, I got this knot. 1 second.
Work it out, bro.
1 second. Sorry.
Work
The
it
life
out.
fighting. Oh. My dad, he was my parents from Congo, Central Africa, right? Super cool. Quick story, both from Kinshasa. Mom lived in Belgium a little bit. Both came here for education, met separately. The day my dad saw my mom, he said he's going to marry her. She's like, no, you're not. And then over a year, he pursued her. He was like, trust me. And then before you know it, 3 kids later. I tell people all the time, like, if you talk about my parents, I hit the jackpot. I don't gamble. I don't do the lottery, but God blessed me with the best parents and siblings in the world. Like, you know, we've had times in life where we lost everything, right? And we have time, but we always stuck together, right? And that's one thing the day that I get married, like I'm going to make sure I want to do that. The man that I want to be is my dad, right? And he always tells me, you got to be better than me. I'm like, how do you do that, right? Like, he's a special, special man, right? So,
when did he immigrate here?
Probably close to 40 years now. He's 40 something years ago, maybe in the 70s, I want to say. My mom just a little bit about this. No, not the 70s. Early 80s. Yeah, so maybe not about that time there.
Yeah, from Congo.
Congo, yep. Congo, yeah. He came from education. He's an electrical engineer. He was a teacher, and he had his own learning center. So it's like in mathematics. He's the big nerd, right? He's super smart, loves math. Math's like his sport, right? And he always encourages, like, whatever you do, be the best at it. Like, he always told me, I don't care where they drop you off from the world, no matter what. You don't know the language, you don't know this, go be successful. You can figure it out in 24 hours. Might not be easy, but you're going to figure it out. That's it. He definitely raised us that way. And I always so grateful. He's the man.
Sure, he knows from experience. He had to figure it out, you know. Probably wasn't easy.
Oh, my gosh.
Like,
no.
my fiance, her parents are immigrants as well. And, you know, they came from Poland.
Oh, nice.
And, you know, came with nothing and like had to, you know, probably, I don't even know, probably a couple $100 or something or less. And like had to, you know, make a life in a new country when you don't speak the language. It must be so challenging, but I think that builds such character and resilience in you. And
100%. Sorry. When you want to cry or complain, before I call my parents, I'm up here like, let me figure this out first. It's like, if I really complaining to them, I'm like, should I really complain to them? No. But they have the best hearts though. Like they love us. My mom, there are times my mom would work 2 hospitals. She'd be up early morning, 5. She would leave the house maybe 3 or 4 in the morning and not get home till 11 o'clock at night. I'd see her, wake up, do it again. But my dad would love her, serve her, do his thing, whatever he can. He'd be working from home or working here. And you see that. Then now you're like, okay, like there's no reason to quit. There's no reason to go another way. And that's in the sense of all that is like they had their adventure that they committed to. That's what kind of gave me that.
No reason to make excuses.
Right, yeah.
Yeah.
So I love him.
That's cool.
Sorry, so it's my dad. So I never forget, we're sitting outside like a Pep Boys Advanced Auto Parts type of place. And the guy came up on a motorcycle. I was like, Dad, like, go to get bikes? And he's like, no. I mean, he's like, I do, but your mom will not let us have it. I'm like, come on, Dad. We can get bikes one day.
He kind of wanted to.
Yeah, oh yeah. And I think he still would. I almost got him on the bike for the first time. I did a ride after the championship. I'm like, Dad, you want to get on the bike? And he goes, no.
Your mom will kill me.
Oh my gosh. She was not having it, or she's not having it. And then I think he thinks I have a younger brother, younger sister. So he's probably thinking like, I probably shouldn't be on a bike right now. But I pray one day I would love to go on a ride with my dad, get him his license, do it all. So I guess how I got on that tangent, he would go to different houses, right? All over South Florida, and he would tutor people, kids, adults, like he worked with like professors through different things. It didn't matter what the mathematic problem, you could always figure it out. So he'd help them like go through like different scenarios for testing, you name it. This guy had like all white, like it was a Harley Davidson Heritage in his garage. So every time I went there, my dad's like, Dad, I gotta use the restroom. So I'd open the garage door and look at the bike and close it and act like I went to the restroom. I guess.
You just had a fascination with
I love
bikes for some reason.
There's something about freedom about them. And one day, I would always, every time I see a bike, I would do it. Even till this day, I see a bike, I hear a bike, I see a bike. Oh man, what is that? Like read about them. Well, I went in the garage and he goes, hey, you want to go for a ride? And I looked, I was like, no, I was just using the restroom. He's like, I know you're looking at the bike. I look at my dad's like, go, be safe.
How old were you?
We were 8 and 9, maybe. I think at the oldest, and I got on the bike with him. To this day, I can still remember that exact memory, where I was. And that, for me, it was like, one day I'm going to work with bikes. I don't know why that was so special. I guess it was the kind of first time I felt like, okay, that's like the adventure. I want to travel the world on bikes. I want to tell stories, whether it's making clothes for bikes, whether it's meeting people. And I always love to ask you, like, what does it mean to commit to the adventure for you? You got to do that. When I did the DGR this year in California, like, bikes have brought me to so many cool places. Like, I just like getting lost. Like, I'll ride from here to Melbourne, Deerfield to Melbourne. I'll ride from...
Dude, next time you're in Melbourne, hit me up.
I'll let you know. I'll let you know. Yeah, I love it. I'll
be over for dinner or something. That'd be cool.
I would love to. I would love to. Like, if you just put me on a bike, it's probably dangerous because I'll just... I'm not like I don't care to race people. I would like to do like the Baja. I would like to do stuff like that. But I just love to explore. Like, oh, what's this little trail? What's this? I'll see what this road takes me. You know, like,
yeah.
I have rode through a few construction zones on the way to the gym in Miami. So that was fun, but nothing too daredevilish, but I just love it. I love bikes. So yeah, it's kind of how it started. And thanks to my dad and bringing me to that John Smith's house. And then I just something about bikes, like, they have this freedom. There's this beauty. I used to love, like, I'm grateful I get to work with Triumph, but like that old cafe racing culture, the style of it, there's like
well, I can tell you have a vintage Triumph out here. I can tell you're drawn to like the vintage
everything.
aesthetic.
Everything vintage. I swear I love vintage cars, vintage bikes. Who cares if they break down? I mean, new cars can break down too. I love them.
Something about that 60s and 70s era where like things were just designed so beautifully and so simply, just clean lines, like really like timeless design.
Different art to it, right? Like the sound of it, the feel of the bike. You have to understand the machine, learning how to use a push start or kick start. They're like their own mechanics back in the day too, figuring it out. Now, like, you have computer systems and stuff, which is still like I guess another art within itself. But there's something about like, you smell that, you know, your hands like...
Yeah, you had to be really in tune with the machine. And,
right.
And like now, if something goes wrong, you have to bring it into the dealership because there's some code that you can't read.
And if the code's just tripping codes anyway, now you're like, oh, what's going on? But those earlier bikes, there's just something about it. My friend Jesse, he owns Hex Moto, works with a bunch of vintage bikes, BMWs. It doesn't matter, really. Like, and he let me sit in his shop, like internship a little bit. This is even when I was homeless. I would just go there, ride the bike over. I had a car, then I ride the bike over, and he let me sit there. I was probably like just zoned out, trying to figure out life. I got a position as like a temporary, like as an accountant for a little bit to like just get money up. But I would go in the office like during lunch break or between training sessions when I didn't have to work that day. And he just let me sit there and tinker with bikes. We took apart like an old school BMW for the first day there and took some videos. And then we cleaned the eBay parts. But I'm over here trying to get fights on the phone. And I love that guy. He's been one of the most like influential people in my life. But you know, as time goes on, like, you just realize like there's something about those old bikes, the way they sound, the way people come together, the community. I don't care what kind of bike somebody rides. I just love the fact that they're riding a bike. You know, I'm not one of those like, oh, it's just Triumph. It's just this. I was like, I love Triumph's my favorite style of bike. We drive especially scramblers. But
I want to take a moment to talk about my absolute favorite gear brand. I got my first set of Fox gear when I was learning to ride in 1998. Not just because it looked cool, but because it meant something to me. That Fox head was more than just a logo. It was an identity. All these years later, I'm still wearing Fox, and it still means just as much. For 50 years, Fox Racing has been chasing the edge, pushing the limits of what's possible with moto gear. From past legends to the next generation of riders, Fox has never stopped evolving. And through it all, the mission has always stayed the same: build the most advanced gear on the planet for those bold enough to push beyond the limit. I've been part of this journey since I was a kid, and I'm proud to still fly the Fox head. Go check out the latest gear at foxracing.com. That's what I have. I have the Scrambler 1200. The thing's sick.
Oh yeah, which one?
It's just the all black. The newer like Scrambler 1200. I think it's the XE. It's like the higher end one. I forget if it's the XE or XC. I don't remember.
It's taller.
Yeah,
I think it's the XE.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That thing's sick, dude.
yeah, it's my favorite bike. I swear it's bad because I'm like, when I move from here and let me have a garage, it's gonna be just a bunch of bikes and then probably a bunch of scramblers and old school bikes. I
got an old 1960s Triumph as well that you would love.
Right.
I'll show you photos of it when we're done.
I love that.
It's like an old desert sled.
Yeah,
bike. Yeah, baby blue tank, 1964.
Ooh, that's
it's
beautiful.
Sick, dude.
That's beautiful.
Yeah,
I could, if I see bikes, I could be there all day. It's just like, but anything with bikes, surfing, camping, hiking, moto, that whole like adventurous world, count me in. Like, I love it just as much as I love fighting. Like, just as much as I love.
What do you think motorcycles give you that nothing else can?
I get to detach, right? Like, it's like, right. So, if you look at the fight, it was 2023. We fought Martin Hamlet and this Viking guy. He literally comes from Viking land, like Norse country, like a true, he looks like one. And we won the fight. I'm so grateful. Awesome guy, thank God. But right after the fight, my coaches were yelling at me because we dropped him. We turned around. They're like, turn around, finish your fight. Like, don't you ever do that again. And I was like, I thought that fight was over. And I'm walking back, and then they run in the cage like, no motorcycles, no riding. I'm like, what are you talking? Like, are you really yelling about riding motorcycles right now? And they're like, be respectful. So I'm like sitting here, and like you said, a little bit of an argument we have on camera, and they pan it away. And I was like, no.
So it was after your fight.
After my fight, yeah. This is literally after. But so that was the fight that we're going to the championship. And like, no riding, we don't. And their heart was, don't get hurt before a fight. Like, don't fly off the bike for sure. But
because you had another one coming up.
I don't know. Yeah, that was the world title fight. So, but I was just hanging out one day before church, and I was like, man, I'm gonna ride the bike. And my teammate Landry Ward, he's coming up. He used to live with me, but he has a fight coming up. And so he lived with me. We're like around each other. He's like, you're not supposed to ride that motorcycle. I said, look, nobody's cut him on that. So I just got on the bike. And I came by to train. Coach was like, man, what happened? It's like, I got on the bike. He's like, okay, maybe you should ride bikes. And it just helped.
So you were, after just going on a ride, like you started training better.
Yeah. And
just because of the mental space.
I swear I would love for somebody to do like a study. Michael Jordan talked about it. It's like, he was going back and forth with Charles Barkley. Like, this guy doesn't ride a motorcycle. And Karl Malone and all those guys, they would actually let them ride to the playoffs, right? And Michael's like, well, you're always using your motor skills. You're doing this. And one of the greatest athletes of all time, both of them, like both high-level athletes. And there's something about, you ride, like they're just always in tune with the bike, the machine. You can't people can be on their phones, I guess. They could do stuff. But in a sense, if you're fully in tune with the bike, you're always, every part of your motor system's working. And when I ride, I just get very, very free. Like I'll ride up to A1A, cut left, go all the way to the far west as I can, come back to north, go around. And I think it just lets me be, like, forget about everything. And then I'll just think, what was coach saying? What was coach saying? And it'll pop up in my mind. Or I'll just like listen to music in my headphones on the helmet. And then all of a sudden it's, oh, I got it. And then I come into training and I can let everything go. Or I can figure out like something for the business. Like, okay, we got to get these funds and we have to do that. Every time I rode, right, it would just like, whatever I had during that week, it wasn't there anymore. Whatever I had. And it's like, life is really good. Like life is a blessing. My dad's saying is like, always full of joy. They're not always happy, but you could always be full of joy. And that's where I would get it, right? I would just have that. I would love to ride to church. I called my Sunday Scramble. The same time the committee adventure started with the same time the Sunday Scramble. I was like, you have nothing better to do. So I might as well ride. We go to church, find this little cafe, do this. And that's what the bike does for me. It just gives me that. It brings up that adventure in me that I wish I could have every single day.
Yeah, dude. It's really cool how being on a motorcycle gives you that space to really like think about life and like process things in a way that you wouldn't otherwise, because you're always filled with distractions, whether it's your phone or a TV or the computer or doing other things. There's always something that's kind of distracting you. It's like this one place where the rest of the world melts away and like you can really process your life. You can really think about things. Creative ideas come to light. You see things in a new way, and it just appears, and you're like, oh wow, I didn't think about that. And
that's so true. I had a college professor. She says, if you want to reconnect with God, just get in nature. See how small you are. Just get in nature. Like, I used to go to college in the mountains in North Carolina, and then at New York. Then even nature, like, I think people forget, like, you in a city and just walking around people. People are pretty primal. Like, I always talk about how people flirt with people, right? You see somebody kind of walk past them, like somebody sees somebody wearing this cologne, this perfume to catch somebody's attention.
All just mating ritual.
Yeah, like life is just a big mating ritual, and it's funny. But if you watch people from that perspective, like even like a dog in heat will walk past another dog, or then that dog gets excited. And you watch people, it's like, why are humans so different? I'm not saying people are animals, not going down that path, but like
we kind of are
animals. Right?
Yeah.
But we do, like, we'll go hunt things. We can sleep in nature. We can adapt really well, different languages. I don't know. It's funny to me like that we have that, right?
Yeah. I mean, we literally are animals. Like chimpanzees have tribes of monkeys, and they have like a class of these chimps are the warriors, and they go out and fight other tribes.
Really?
And there's cliques, and there's hierarchies, and there's, the leader of the pack, and there's the protectors, and then there's the females. And
really, I did not know that.
It's very similar to humans. And there's a lot of animals that, we're just animals.
Right.
We have animal instincts. The things that drive us are literally like survival. It's like reproduction. It's food, it's shelter, it's survival. Like, it's no different than nature. We just do it in a different way.
Yeah, I guess we just do it better than the other ones, don't we?
I don't know. Do we?
I don't know.
I don't know. Because they're not that stressed.
Yeah, they don't have any bills. Right? They just out there living. I don't know. And that's what I think it's cool. When I never forget, it was the Dr. Maycat, and she was like, let's go see. You see something or going through, and you see a mountain lion and go, okay, and you watch, okay, and it leaves you alone, but it watches you. It's like, don't get too close. Right? You see how bears go, or you see like something about nature. But I think bikes give you that too, right? Like you can you watch, I think when you're on a bike, you have to watch everything, right? So it's like you start noticing things that much deeper, that much more intentional about it. Because you're like, that little squirrel that crosses in front of you on the road, and you get distracted by it, then somebody's crossing the street and you're flying off but if you're so in tune, I noticed that. Like, I was noticing things on the bike, like a little bag on the road that I might have never noticed in the truck. And how people operate is just like, we have these these very primal ways of just interacting with each other. But yeah, maybe we do think we're more sophisticated than we actually are.
Yeah, we're sophisticated, but who knows if it's better or not.
Right, I don't know.
You did a cross-country motorcycle trip after that fight that you were talking about, right?
Mm-hmm.
Can you tell me what that experience was like? Because I'm sure that was kind of your first time doing an extended ride like that.
Actually, that was my 5th.
Oh, really? So you had done that before?
Yeah, so this is stupid, but first time I got my license, what was the first? It was I know the trips were back to back, but I didn't even have a license for like a month. And I went to coach my friend in a fight, and I went to go support a friend in a jiu-jitsu tournament. So both trips were pretty long, but I rode from Deerfield Beach, Florida, all the way to North Carolina, like on a big Indian bike. And I rode back. And I rode from Austin, Texas to Dallas, Texas, which is really a 4-hour trip. But if you don't know how to get on the highways and it's kind of new for you,
back roads.
Through the back roads. And there's an old service route, which is pretty cool. Take the back service roads and all that stuff. It took 13 hours.
It's way more fun that way, though.
It was a lot of fun. I had to wear the back of it. And I was, we ended up hitting this path literally on the map. It said, go through it. You went to a cornfield looking thing. And I was just like, no way. Middle of the night, it's like, this is going to be really bad. We're starting to run out of gas. But it was a lot of fun. That trip. And then I did, Wales, the country of Wales. So that was before that one. And I went, 2022, I went to this Cardiff, the capital city, or Philly, to the mountains, all the way to Ogmore by the Sea. The bike broke down the day of my friend's fight that I cornered him in. And another guy on the back of he had a Triumph Scrambler, Steve McQueen edition. Mm-hmm. I got on the back of his bike and he rode me, he let me ride from where Ogmore by the Sea, which is near the Bristol Channel, all the way into the city, dropped me off right in front of the stadium, made it in time for the fight. I was like, thank you, God.
Whoa.
Yeah, I have the whole video. It's so funny. I'm sitting on the back of his bike just like, well, Let's well commit to this adventure too.
That's great.
Oh my gosh, I'll never go that far away on a fight of me. I remember I got things like, "Will you coming?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'll be there. See you there." I was like, "I don't know how." The guy's like, "Hey man," they're just literally sitting outside this bar like this. And I thought I would have had hours to be there. And I was at the bike, I think someone with the gas line. So I was sitting there and the guy's like, "I'll take you to the city. All in the spirit of commit to adventure." But now I'm riding on the back of this guy's bike. Like, I cannot believe I'm riding on the back of this bike in Corning, but it was fun. It's fun.
You talked about riding motorcycles and how the rest of the world kind of disappears and you can really be present. You feel like entering that like flow state is there any similarities to the feeling of being in a fight?
I'd say so, for sure. There's this peace that comes over you. My trainers are getting nervous for a fight. I'm like, I'm not nervous. And I think people try to make you relate to who they are. So they'll say you're nervous. I'm like, I'm not. But I'm not trying to prove it. I just naturally been that way. I think at times it's got me in trouble in fights because like you can be very, like it is, but you know, sometimes you said, like earlier you said, you think you're better than the bike or better than you are, you can learn pretty quickly. I've had times in my fights where I've made that mistake because I just went for it and it got clipped. I went for it for sure, and I don't think you should be fearful. There are also times where you have to like change your tactics up and learn to be better. So you're refining there, but
you have to think, dude, like back to the primal thing, like being nervous is a survival instinct.
Right, yeah.
It's like if you were an animal in nature and you didn't have fear like you do, you'd probably die.
Yeah, I don't know about how long my lifespan would be as an animal. Hopefully I was a big animal that they didn't want to mess with or something. Or
yeah.
Something crazy. But no, that's true. And you have that like feeling, and it's weird
but that feeling of peace that you're talking about.
Yeah, I have that peace, and it's like, I guess you're not afraid to die, you know? And I think that's where I come to motorcycles and the fighting. And then that's something that does help me. Like, I've been knocked down in front of the whole world by Joaquin Buckley, right? And I just said, hey, know that highlight as much as you want. The day that I'm a champion, play that highlight too. We did it. And we're going to do it again and again and again. I never let the losses of my life define who I am as a person. And that's where fighting like gives me that freedom. Okay, yeah, this guy could hit me this next fight. It could be bloody. It could be this. Could knock him out in 2 seconds. I'm going to go for knocking him out in 2 seconds. But go if it's a 3-round fight, beat him up the whole way. I respect him. Like, he's a solid fighter, right? And you know who you are. But it's like, I think on the other side of the danger is like you never even go for it, right? Like you never even go, yeah, you could die, okay? And anytime you get on a bike, you already know this could literally be your last day of your life. All right, well, is that going to stop you from ever riding? Fighting, you could die too. And this is where I like find it funny. Or like people like say, don't ride motorcycles, don't do this, it's dangerous. I'm like, guys, like I'm literally signing a waiver that says if I die or get brain trauma, I can't see it. Like, and you're coaching me to do this. You're training and helping me to do this. You're supporting me to do this. You get paid to do this, and then it's like, then your life is okay or not.
The thing about motorcycling is you're not guaranteed to crash. Like fighting, you're guaranteed to get beat up.
See, that's a really good point. I'm gonna use that one.
It's more dangerous.
I'm gonna use that one. Yeah, right.
You're guaranteed to get like the shit kicked out of you.
All right, you go in there and it's like, okay, you can get kicked in the neck or in the head. I'm like, you guys are really complaining about me getting on a bike.
Most likely, you're gonna be fine on the bike.
Right. See, I've rode the bike a lot more times and haven't had any traumatic stunts. I can point out a couple fights where we could erase that one from the record would be nice, but that's why I tell people to take. But those who don't know, they don't know. They assume what it's like in the head. Even people say, like, how could you ever get in a fight? I'm like, have you ever been in one? One of the most freeing things ever. Like, not even like the rush. Like, after a fight, like, I'm very quiet. I'll think and get away. But I think people think that it's just...
Adrenaline rush.
Adrenaline rush? No,
well,
like...
for you, for you, it's probably different because, like you said, you don't have the fear of dying. How do you attain that mindset? Like, how do you not have that fear?
Man, it's my faith. Really, like, I guess I'm a Christian. It's like, not because, oh, God is better than this. No, it's like I accepted Christ as my Savior, and I was like, I'm looking forward to dying one day. I'm like, man, I get to heaven, and that's it's a much better place than being on earth. I love my family, love my people, love my girl. I love my dogs. But I'm gonna go for it as hard as I can in life, as intelligent as I can be. Sometimes I make stupid mistakes, but this is all gonna go away anyway one day. And I'm probably not quoting it right, but it was like a phrase saying like, you die, okay, that's sad. But to live your whole life and actually have never lived, what's the difference, right? You just kind of wasted space for yourself. And when I think about it, it's like to fight, to do business, to whatever, like I'm not gonna I just cannot look at my life one day and say, man, did I not commit to this adventure? Did I not go for it? Did I look at life and just say, I wasted time?
Mm-hmm.
Right? No, like I want to look at, and faith will say, like, when you go to heaven, God says, well done, my good and faithful servant. I feel like my call to this life is to be on this adventure, help people go for theirs, encourage them, show them they're unconditionally loved, if they felt like taking their life, if they felt like they couldn't make it, if they felt like their life had no meaning or purpose. Eventually I want them to say like, hey, like, and not because of me, but I'm saying, hey, like, thank God for the position he put me in. But if there's anything in my life that you can see where I failed, where I've done really well, the in-between, and you say, hey, I went for it because I saw what you did partially, or hey, it encouraged me to go for it too. It's a good life for me. It's a good life for me. The day I have kids, like I have a log on my phone and I'll make a video. I don't have kids yet, but I'm not even married yet. But the day that I have kids, I always tell them when I was in Saudi Arabia the first time, I'm like, hey kids, this is what Saudi Arabia is like. I lost a fight. I'm like, this is what it looks like when you lose a fight. But I don't post it. But I have like a whole log that one day I just want to sit down and show them like, this is your dad at 26. This is your dad at 28. Your dad at 30, now 31. And my dad told me, wherever you go in life, be successful. And I want to share to my kids one day, wherever you go in life, commit to your adventure, whatever that. And that's like just something that I commit to. So like for me to live a life that's fearful of dying, I think I'd be doing them a disservice and the other people around me. And that's how I've been obtaining them.
Committing to the adventure, I think part of any adventure, there's the hardships. That's part of the adventure. And, at the beginning of this, you kind of quickly mentioned, there's a time where my life kind of I got into a place where it spiraled in the wrong direction. You mentioned briefly that maybe you thought you were going to get married. That didn't work out. You were on the wrong end of a very viral knockout.
Right, yeah.
That we'll talk about that story later. But, you ended up living in your car, trying to pursue your dream. You get to this point where like, what keeps you going when you're in these low points?
Man, things that keep me going. I guess I never really saw it. Where my parents come from, right? My dad, when he came to this country, had $16 in his pocket. So I've had a really great upbringing. I've since had a lot of things. And I saw us lose everything. I've never seen him quit or stop working. It's funny, he does not like being near the water. He used to like dig mud to create bricks up near the Congo River. It's a very powerful, deep river, and Lord knows what's in that river already. But he did it to pursue his dream. And that always gave me the faith and courage, like, not to be fearful. My faith, like, first attach I got is Psalm 27. It talks about like the Lord. It's pretty much chapter 27 is just it's about being fearless, right? Committing to that and truly believing like there's nothing to be worried about. And so when I was in my car, when I had all that going on, I was like, man, this is where you are today, and tomorrow could be so much better. I just remind myself of that. And it's a privilege to get to go for my dream, right? I've been around the world to a degree, not every country, but I've been to Saudi Arabia. I was just in Cuba. I've been to Wales, like Europe, different parts of Africa, crazy parts of the United States. And I've seen people where I'm like, gosh, if they could just have the opportunity to go for it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go as hard as I can for it. And when I was in that car, I was like, what do I have? I have everything that I need. I have a gym right here. Literally, I'll never be late to practice. I can just literally walk from my parking lot spot before everybody gets in the gym, brush my teeth, hit the bag, order Instacart, work a little bit, come right back. And knowing that, like, when you know you're called to do something, it doesn't matter what you see. They always say, I don't always know how, but I know who. And I was just like, trust God in that. I'm like, I don't know how, but I'm putting this on you. Because you, like, if you call me to do this, I'm putting this on you. Like, I'm giving the bill to you. And it's worked out. It's worked out. And there've been times where I was like, gosh, like, I remember riding my bike and just, like, you're almost at the point of tears because you're like, you don't know what to do, and then it works out. And you don't know what to do, and then it works out. And then so you start thinking, it's like, a verse always says, like, why worry about tomorrow? Because it's going to take away from today. Tomorrow has its own troubles. I just grateful,
The beauty of when you're in a place where you have nothing is you have nothing to lose. So like having nothing to lose and only to gain, and you're fully committed to this dream that you're chasing, what do you have to lose? You might as well try. I think that's kind of In a weird way, it's a cool place to be.
It is. And it's funny when things change too, because I went from you're homeless in your car, you're doing this, you're going to training every day. People don't know. You're a world champion, learned all tournament winner, all that. You can help people. You got this, you have all these people who want to be a part of your life. You look around like, you don't work hard. You don't care for what you do. And at first I used to feel bad to say it. I was like, then I get to sit here with you and say, how cool is it that like, you'll wake up in the morning. Now, Lord knows what time you had to prep, get ready, do the research and talk and reach out. How many people you reach out that didn't get back to you? People that you're going to do, they flaked. I don't know the whole story, but you're like, I don't know why you moved from Denver to here. Like everybody's love story. And then all of a sudden I'm getting to sit with you in this awesome studio. And it makes you like, it affirms us like, man, like that's really cool. But, you know, it's like, it's challenging when you see people who don't really want to necessarily put the work in. Like you can do whatever you can to set it up, but it's also like, takes a certain kind of grit too, right? Am I perfect? No. Like there are things like, have you ever been behind on a payment? Have you ever been behind on something in life? Have you wanted to do this and didn't work out or a fight took over? But when you actually look at the overall whole, you're like, did you give your best? And I've always been a person that has, you know, like, and I realized like, if I just, and it says not just do it yourself, but you really, really vet who's in your life, you'll see it. So to sit here with you and like, it always just keeps the dream alive, like where it says like, I want to do something with Moto one day. And for you to reach out, I'm like, dang, like I'm always going to remember this day. It's close to my fight. It's like, it's that moment. And then those are the moments in your adventure that say, okay, this is why you keep committing to it. I never did. I mean, walking out of my house into a really cool studio like this and then getting to work with Triumph and stuff. I just knew as a kid, I said, Dad, one day I'm work with motorcycles. Like there's more and more that's coming out of it. I'm just like, okay, this is why it's worth it. But, you know, just getting to love life is a pretty cool thing.
It is cool. Yeah. It's cool that you have so much gratitude and like confidence in yourself that when failures happen, you don't take it as like a setback. You take it as, it seems like, I mean, I don't want to speak for you, but it seems like you take failure as an opportunity to learn.
Well, it's truly an opportunity to learn. And I think that people mess themselves up because they don't try to feel all the emotions of failure. Like you should feel, oh, this sucks. Okay, cool. But it doesn't really suck. I'm happy about this. You shouldn't be happy about it. Right.
But it's like, why did I fail? And how can I not do that in the future?
Right. And it's a beautiful thing because you get all the emotions in one. Like you can learn a lot by winning for sure. You can learn a lot by failing too. Sometimes people never learn from the failures and sometimes people never learn from the wins. When you fail and it hits you in the face, you're like, and if you look at it from a positive lens, like I try to like look at it fully. Like what part of it's terrible? What part of it's pretty good? What part of it's really good? And then you start taking the bits and pieces and like, okay, I do like finance and business. I do work in that world as well. And there's a guy named Ray Dalio, he owns this like cool hedge fund and he about lost everything. It's like Bridgewater Associates. And I thought it was interesting because he's like, he almost lost all this. He's at a certain time in his life. He wants to help his family and he bet on the market the wrong way. And that failure has helped him mentor so many people.
You learn way more from your failures.
And now he's the one of the most respected people. If you look at people in business and like not politically this, just anybody like current president, whatever, people, it doesn't matter what's up. You're stupid for doing that. Jeff Bezos, you're stupid for buying Twitch. You're stupid for doing this. You're stupid for doing that. They're like literal articles about that. Like, why would they ever do that? Why would that team ever decide that? And then they're like, wow, that thing's worth hundreds of billions of dollars now.
They failed many times along the way to get there.
There's a cool saying, and I would say it's more martial arts place I've heard. The masters failed more times than the students ever tried. And I always think about that, right?
That gives me chills. I love
right,
that.
right. And I was just like, oh, okay, so you're on your way to mastery. I'll laugh. I'll go, hey, we failed. I guess we're getting close to becoming a master at this, right? And it's the truth. Like, think about those like great trainers. I know you say you train. Not do any sports before? Or?
I mean, as a kid, I played sports, but I grew up racing motocross.
Okay.
And that's a very physically demanding.
I can only imagine, right? And imagine the people who taught you how many injuries or failures or races they won, lost, or times they didn't get qualifying. Like, who knows what people have been through, how well they can teach you from that.
The thing about racing is you're lining up against 40 other dudes who want it maybe just as bad as you and who have also been working really hard.
Right.
And 39 people are going to lose. one guy's going to win.
Right.
You got to get used to failure in that sport. And also there's a lot of things out of your control. Like you can get taken out by another rider. Your bike could break. Like anything could happen. Like, yeah, you're going to fail a lot more than you win.
Well, essentially, that's what makes baseball so interesting, right? I'm not big like watching sports. I didn't grow up really doing sports, but you could literally hit 3 out of 10 and be a Hall of Famer. In life, they tell you in school you get a 30% on a test. What? Like, what? They're like, yeah, this is definitely not. But they're all like, if you have 10 at bats, let's say 3 base hits or home runs or whatever they get. I wouldn't understand baseball fully, I guess, but yeah, like you can do that. Or when you surf, right? Crash.
Let's talk about hydrogen water. Health and wellness have become one of my biggest passions over the last few years. I'm always searching for new ways to feel better, think clearer, and live with more energy. And one thing that stayed consistent in my routine is the Echo Hydrogen water bottle. I've been using it for a couple years now, and the new Echo flask design is so cool. It's sleek, minimal, and beautiful. It goes with me everywhere. Whether I'm getting in a workout, traveling, or just starting my day, it's become a staple in my daily ritual. And now Echo is offering my listeners a special discount on the Echo flask. This is not your standard water bottle. It contains a high-tech electrolysis system that splits the water into hydrogen and oxygen, infusing your water with molecular hydrogen, one of the most powerful tools for health at the cellular level. Hydrogen water helps boost natural energy, improves cognitive function, and supports detoxification in a world that is filled with toxins. There are over 1,400 studies and more than 150 years of research behind hydrogen water, and yet most people still don't know about it. This isn't a fad, it's science, and it's part of how I optimize my health every single day. Head over to echowater.com/ridebeyond to learn more about the incredible benefits of hydrogen water and get your Echo flask at a special discount. That's echowater.com/RIDEBYND. But through those failures, how much sweeter is the win? Because if you just came out and you were undefeated, yeah, that'd be cool. Your career would take off, but you wouldn't have that same perspective. When you get, so we'll get into that story next. But when you got knocked out in that viral video, and then you came back after that to become a world champion, how much sweeter was that?
Oh man,
you know what I mean?
Those moments so sweet, right? Because I sometimes think there are people who are very special who are undefeated for a reason, right? But if you actually I was a pastor back in North Carolina, consider the source. You ever look at somebody's record is undefeated, right? And they've been undefeated for years and years. You see the people that they fought, 0-15, 1 in this. You're like, did you really fight people of caliber worth of calling yourself a warrior? Now, when they got to the top and they were that much more refined, it's like you fought with the gladiators. They fight with the little wooden swords. So I think that I'm those are the wooden sword fights. What did you do when the real metal was there? When you actually had to go to battle? I get it. You're providing for your family. You want to do great. So that is winning itself. And I'll never insult people. But there's so many great fighters who are undefeated. And there's so many fighters undefeated. And then sometimes you see it at a younger stage before they get to the PFL, the UFCs, the other organizations in the world where they will fight. And then they fight these guys. I'm undefeated and they're running around cocky and stuff. And then they're metal tested and it's But when you lose and you go through life and then you have those moments and you pick yourself up and you're you don't know what to do. I think it translates to so much more of your life. When you're a dad one day, owning a business, right? I mean, there are days I've seen God provide every week for my business, but it's also too, he's going to provide when he recognizes you're not going to quit. You might think you're about to lose it all. And so when I've seen a fighter lose 2 fights, I lost my last 2 fights, right? But I'm telling you, August 21st, I'll claim that victory.
Hell yeah.
And you go for it. And I didn't let this fun. I just thank God. And I say sometimes the losses are indication, they're indicators of what's going on in your personal life. So you got to clear. You got to do a self audit. You have to do this. You have to face look at yourself in the mirror and see what's going on. But I can also say in the times of me failing, I've got to really see why would I even tolerate this, right? Why would you? Because you have to understand that in your life when you're favored and that you have blessings and you step into it. There are times I will kind of lean away from that because I'm God, you're too good to me. And then you start kind of like defeating yourself, right? And I'm not going to take away from my opponents. They're good. Fabian Edwards, excellent. He's fighting the champion. Dovelet, champion. You get clipped, and these guys can hit. You have to respect them, right? And then all those moments like losing to Buckley, but it's understanding that any great nation, any great war, any great writer, any great person on a podcast, whatever you do, like there are moments in life when it's really real that you have moments of failure. And I think that's why people love fighting. Right? It's one of the oldest sports, right? I say it's not a sport because you're taking away somebody's life points. So is it really sport? But from the beginning of time, even tribes, before the gladiator games, like people would meet in a community, get a circle, and that person become the leader of the warriors. That's where my fight name comes from. Like Chiloba means mighty warrior. And my dad's tribe, they would, back in the day, they would fight. The top warrior get the name Chilobo. So that means like you're the king of the warriors. And like as a Christian, I would say, like, as mighty warrior to God because I want to give him the glory. But you fight, and it could be like your brother. It could be somebody like that's in your community. But in order to be the leader, you had to like work your way up. Like kind of like wrestlers who wrestle off to be the person who's going to represent the team. And when you lose and you lose and you win and you lose, like you get beat up in training. That's why I came to Florida. I needed training partners who would beat me up. And I'm so grateful to have guys who challenge me and you have to figure it out. Because when you go into the fight, you're like, man,
that humbles you. That keeps you, you can't get content. Like you're continuously growing and improving, and that failure drives you. I think those people who haven't experienced that yet, who are maybe still undefeated, they can get a little cocky, they can get a little bit content. And the wins don't mean as much. It's like it's cool because you're finding success, but like you haven't gone through the rock bottom yet. You haven't experienced that failure. So like, how do you even know how much this win means if you haven't experienced the other side?
Like, how do you even know what you really are then?
Yeah.
Like, if I don't know if you hunt or anybody's, but if somebody goes for hunting, right, and they miss that shot, they know they need to provide for their family. Let's say it's back in the day. You're going to stop, oh, guys, I didn't. And you're going to look at your kid and say, sorry, I guess we're going to eat grass today. It's like, what? I thought you went out there for months. Like, no, like, you're going to come back with something. And I always think, like, well, there's certain fighters you meet in, like, life or anything. There's some people who just love to win and love to shine and love the popularity. And there are those who love to be the warrior, love to fight, and still provide. And I would say the ones who truly love it, and the ones who are truly disciplined, yeah, do you see the undefeated ones, like, not taking shots? The people who, like, you'll go undefeated, and make it to a top organization. The organization cuts them. Stop showing up for practice. Or they get in, they get the popularity, they do this, and then they just stop training. They stop going for it. You can walk. Yeah. Can you walk back in the gym after you've been knocked out cold? Can you walk back in the gym after you beat somebody up too? Because sometimes it's like you knock somebody out, you're like, yeah. Or do you want to get back to it? I like the saying, person's like, I would rather have the thoroughbred that I have to pull back from running out the gate than the pretty pony that knows it never wants to cross the gate. And then they say, sometimes it's good to have both. And then I brought that saying up to my coach. He's like, no, I want that thoroughbred every time. He's like, you go for it. We can
never
train
get content.
Right, yeah. Never. Like, let the thoroughbreds run. And I love that part. I love about fight. It gets me like charged up to think like, oh, we're about to fight. Yeah. And to sit here and wonder, like, who cares if people like you? Who cares if this? But did you go for, like, people can yell, comment, shout. And I can honestly say I've had very respectful, supportive people in my career. And I think it's hilarious when I get like tagged by the Buckley fight. I probably every week or when he's about to fight, I'm getting tagged in it for sure if I'm about to fight. But it doesn't matter because he and I have texted a bunch. And it's like, I have that, there's a Shakespeare saying, it's like, those that shed blood with me become my brother. There's a special bond you get when this happens. And that's why I look at fighters like, don't try to act like a fake gangster. Like, if you really don't like that person, don't like him from the beginning to the end. Like, forgiveness is a thing, yes, but sometimes you would try to, and I get it, you're selling the fight, you're doing this, but when people really think that's what they're on, you know them, and then they come through the fight, and after they're giving the guy a hug, I'm like, you run. Whatever. Good job. Do your job, make it, but there's a difference between like pro wrestling, there's a difference between fighting, and I respect the pro wrestlers, and I respect the fighters, but you really know what it is, and there's that pureness, don't take away, because when you start to like, taint purity, when you start like putting like smudges on it, it takes away from what it could ever be. Right. And you have to like cleanse yourself. And I think that's what happens with losses sometimes, right? There's this cleansing moment, right? And you'll see the ones who are like, okay, like I think skateboarders are cool, right? I mean, snow can probably be hard on everyone else, but when you skateboard, and I've only done a little bit, but you fall there, you hit the concrete. Oh, hit the concrete. Boom, again. And then you see the ones who became great. I wonder how many bones they broke before they won the X Games. How many bones they broke before they're at the Olympics and doing this. Or
Well,
this
how
street
many
ride.
times they eat shit, get back up, do it again and again and again, and then eventually they land it, and like how stoked they are.
Right. And that feeling is just like, oh man, because like, oh, you get punched in the face. It's, you know, sometimes I'll feel it. It's not, doesn't, people think it hurts worse than it is. It does. It's like you hit somebody back, you kicked in the face, like, whatever, let's go. But you hit concrete, that thing is so unforgiving, right? Like it's so like, boom, you see the way people fall, you're like, oh my God. And then there's like, again, and they're so dedicated to like that level of athlete or bull riders. I love people who ride like that. PBR, you'll see we're wrestling in the gym. Sometimes like PBR, like we're just wrestling the other. And I have my favorite athlete is JB Money. He was
Bull rider?
Bull rider, yeah. Probably one of the, considered like the greatest bull rider by many. You fly off the bull crushes you. This is a living beast of an animal that wants to kill you. Right? He gets back up. You see these guys in Brazil, they're riding these no protective gear, and they're just on this like trying to these local circuits, and you're like, dude, you could boom get thrown into the rail, get back on it again. They get back on. They put their hat on back. I always wear a cowboy hat because one day I would have one on ranch, but I also say like you get back up and you keep doing it again. And these guys go and they go. They hold that bull, this beast of an animal. They get smashed on the ground. Sometimes they get trampled by it, and they, in order to qualify, they got to do it again. Their internal bleeding, broke rib, broken this and that. All right, just as long as you can hold on for 8 seconds. And you take that mindset into your life, no matter how many times you get trampled, beat up, whatever, that just gets me going. So when there are those who love to just like be popular, do the media and fight, which is great. It's part of your job as an athlete, as a fighter, a professional athlete in general. But then there are like there's very few warriors you'll see through it all. And those are the ones I think that can stick through it. They're the ones where the whole world says they suck. They're the ones where the whole world says, ha, see, you were talking that and you got knocked out. Like, watch. Those are the ones when everybody says this. I thought about post-fight, and I will when it comes to when we come to this victory. It's like, when I won the title in 23, I fought at 205 light heavyweight. Trainers, people, don't do it. Right? Don't fight at 205.
They wanted you to cut and go.
Well, they didn't have 85 at the time in the PFL, and there's two loaded at 70, right, at the time. I could do it now. Much more disappointing, refining, and better. But never forget, those guys are big. And it's like, it doesn't matter. Like, in order to, you don't know what I've been through on that farm. And you look at people and you wonder, it's like, oh, like, I'm going to do something with moto. You didn't grow up doing it. It's like, please tell me what you think I can't do again. You shouldn't do finance accounting. Why do you want to go back to school? Like, I argue with people like, to go to school. And I'm like, I want to continue my education. What's wrong with that? Like, why is that an issue for you? Just be an athlete. It's like, you want to read. And I remember sitting there listening to these conversations and being very like, at first jaded, like, why would you say that? Well, over time, you just start to realize like the more you just believe in yourself and what you're doing, it's going to work out. And and then that year, it was just like, I'm just done with listening to people. Like, I just remember, I was like, I'm done. I'm just going to sign up. I just signed the contract. They was like, they're crazy. They're big. You're small. Like, yeah, you look at the guys in the fight, I'm looking at them like this at weigh-ins. You get cracked. You're like, man, they can hit. But that was the year we won the
Probably
title.
felt a lot better, though, because you didn't have to cut so much.
I didn't have to cut.
You can probably perform better in the fight.
Right. Yeah, I didn't have to cut. It's a lot on your body for sure. But the risk is definitely, the reward is definitely higher than the risk. And I just remember that year. Like they said, this is all you're going to do. Super grateful for the PFL. I love being in it. And why I say it is like, that was the opportunity I got. Right. And I'm going to sit here and wonder, because if I didn't do that, I haven't signed with another organization. I'd have just been waiting again. And I think a lot of people think like, I'm just going to wait for this because they don't want to lead into the hard. And I remember being in the gym and looking at people, it's like, don't worry, just put whoever you want in front of me, see what I do. And that year we claimed the title. And then we defended the title 3 times. But it's like, if I didn't get knocked out by Buckley, would I have had that mindset? I believe I would have, based on my parents raised me, based on my faith. But I think all those moments forged me for that time. And then when I lost my last 2 fights, I look into this next one, it's like, you can walk into it saying, like, I've been down before. I've lost in so many other ways in life. That's what helped me become who I am today. And as I step into this fight August 21st, even just sitting here talking with you, man, what a perfect time to talk. Like, because it's just been a year. But, you know, at the same time, too, like, the best days are ahead and God's blessings.
It's like that
you know?
bull riding analogy, man. Yeah. Like, you get knocked off and trampled and put the hat back on and get back on the bull. And you literally got that bull kicked you in the face.
I didn't see it coming.
That Buckley fight. Can you tell me? Obviously, you probably don't remember because you were knocked out cold. But what was it? What was it like? I saw that highlight on. I don't even really follow fighting. That hasn't been like a passion that I've like followed closely. I respect it. I love the training aspect and the work and the dedication and the warrior mindset. I just don't follow the sport heavily. So I didn't know all the characters. I wasn't familiar with you yet. But I remember what Joe Rogan like showed that highlight on his podcast and I was like, holy shit, that's gnarly, dude. You got, that thing came out of nowhere, kicked in the face and knocked out and it was viral. What did that feel like? Such a public viral defeat.
Well, in my sense, I was never defeated. I lost, but I was not defeated. And that's where people find me weird. And I've always struggled with that's like, I don't really care what people think at all. Like, and because I don't see my validation from them. Like, my validation's in Christ. I've made the dumbest mistakes. Like, I have I remember when I was like, man, I started training at 24, in the UFC at 26, about a year. Some change. I had my first time being in the UFC within a year. Took the risk. Like, I looked at my family and they thought I was crazy. I never forgot when I went to fight. I left the accounting job, didn't tell them. I went to work at the grocery store. My parents were like, talk to your son. Like, my mom literally to me was like, talk to your son. Like, what? Like, my dad's like, what are you trying to prove? You want to be tough? Go get a fight and come back. Like, be an accountant. Like, so I already went through all that. The people that mean the most to me, I had to show and share with them, like, I'll do this. And it's not just for me first. So getting knocked out by Buckley meant, like, if anything, it really did affect me. I was like, watch this. And I walked into that cage in that ring and I was like, man, I remember before the fight. He was trying to talk trash to me before the fight, that as he does. I'm like, whatever. Read him in the fight. It's very close because I won the fight, whatever. Get knocked out. And people mentioned, but the coolest part is like, if we watch it, I'm trying to stay up, but I'm going out. Like, I'm just like, and that to me, that's the champion to me, right? And I got to the back and it's like my memory started coming back. I had a teammate at the time, former friend, Brian Barberina, pretty excellent fighting career, doggo fighter. He's with me out there. My dad's there. Teammate Diego's there. And then I'm looking at this agent, Danny Rubenstein. And what happened? They're like, you kind of got lazy. I was like, what happened? Like, you kind of got lazy. And because when you get knocked out, that short-term memory is like.
Did you go to the hospital or were you just like at the venue?
I was at the venue at this point, and then I did go to the hospital. I had my dad go to the hospital, and I'm sitting there. I'm like, like, what happened? And they're like, and then it's just like that short-term memory. It just keeps lapsing.
Where am I? And
yeah, I recognized it in the fight, but I was like, man. And it's so different because we were fighting in Fight Island. It's my first time in the Middle East in Abu Dhabi, on Yas Island, in Abu Dhabi. And I'm over here like, whoa. So I remember being in this back room and everybody's looking at me like, are you okay? And I'm like, why y'all looking at me like that? What happened, right? And I remember just like, it must have been that or something. And they're like, and you know, when like, you ever seen like a kid run and they hit their face into the pole and everybody's like, oh, and the kid's really not hurt, but they're scared because they're like.
Scared of the reaction.
Right? It's almost that moment where I wasn't scared. So I was like, I probably definitely lost the fight. I knew that for sure. But I was like.
You're more freaked out by everyone else's reaction.
Is my dead eyes like my eye falling out my face? Like the way people were looking at me. And I'm like, can I see it? They're like, no, you don't want to see it. I'm like, can I just see it? I was like, oh. It's like, wow. And then the guy's like, he kind of hit you with this Mortal Kombat spinning. I was like, all right, bro. And like my friends at the time we would like, something is not, we would still joke with them about it. So I'm thinking like, all right, it's not that bad. Like he's like, no, like it was that bad. And I was like, oh my God. So fast forward, the ambulance, someone took me to the hospital, which is a hell of a blessing. Like, yeah, you're not concussed. I'm like, are you sure about that? But I got in the ambulance and I look at my dad. He's like, chill, as my dad would be. And he just goes, all right, like this is what you chose to do. There's no need to cry about it. Like that's the first thing he tells me in the ambulance. I'm like, we're good. I didn't cry. I just looked at him. I was like, don't worry, Dad. I'll finish my next fight. And he's like, good. So, and I said, and then, shout out to Joe Rogan. I wrote a post and I meant it. I was like, great kick, awesome fight. Then Joe Rogan reshared it. But that moment, right? And he said, this is how martial artists should respond. I didn't think about anybody, but I just was like, I say MMA is my ministry. The good, the bad, everything that's going to give God the glory. I'm going to go to battle, go to war. Like, I could care less about dying. But I'm going to use this moment to show what God's done in my life. We use this moment to say, like, I know I'm on the right path. And I just wrote Buckley, as I do every opponent, whether I won or lost, like, God bless you, much respect, you did your thing. I reflect on the win, I reflect on the losses, or the wins, and I respect on the losses, but it's always respect. And before and after, during, right? I said the best way to respect your opponent is to beat them as badly as you need beaten by, to go kill them. So, like, I had a rugby coach that told me that once, and it's truth, because, like, why would I ever give you a disservice? Like, if you're going to go hunt, get the right shot. Don't torture the animal, like, provide for your family. The same thing is, like, you go hunting in there. And I told my dad, I said, okay, so I wrote the post. I don't think I even tagged Joe Rogan. He just saw it, and everybody's like, oh, like, this is your response. I said, but don't worry. Let that hide as much as you want. There, I'm a champion, put that high too. And I could stand tall because I know who I am. I know who I am in Christ. I know who I am as a Kasanganay, my last name, my family. And I was going to get right back to work. I went to the gym when I got back in town right away. My coach was like, please go home.
Take a break.
Now, I moved to Florida, December 3rd, 2020, and I'm about to get my first fight. I went down in one more weight class to 170. And a guy, Sasha Palatnikov. It's my first fight since then, and my dad calls me before the fight. He goes, hey, what's up, Dad? He goes, don't come home unless you win this fight. And I was like, but that's how we have that connection. There was no insult. It was nothing bad. He was like, his way to say was like, I know what you could do. You told me you're going to go finish the fight. So don't give him it. He goes, my dad likes to say, he doesn't swear. So he goes, no Mickey Mouse stuff. You know, it's just funny. And I'm like, yes, sir. He goes, go get that victory and we'll see you after. Or stay down in Florida. Don't, because they live in North Carolina now. So like, don't come back and visit. I was like, I got you. And I was like, I love going to see my family. And I was like, and I looked in that cage, happy at peace, got the finish. And I was like, yeah, but I'll never forget my dad saying that because he knew exactly how to charge the warrior that he raised. And moments like that, like when that Buckley fighter, like the things I can look at life now, anytime like running a business, running a company, having employees, having staff, like with the gym that I have, with other things that are going on, relationships, life, I can look at moments like that. It's just like, fighting in your underwear across the seas in this cage and getting knocked out in front of the hole. That's a beautiful kick. And you can make the decision right there. Says no, like watch him be a champion.
I love that you can even give credit to the opponent, like that job well done. And also just after a failure like that happens, having the humility to be like, okay, it happens. Let's learn from this. Let's move on, not dwell on it, not get depressed, like not let it affect you mentally or just be like, I'm going to quit, you know, just keep grinding. That warrior mindset.
Right. And that's the thing about being a warrior. It's like you may go to battle and may lose like people that you love. And I never want to say that, you know, like I was always on the fence, right? Like some people are very politically charged. So they'll say like, I love my sister, she's in the military. Well, my best friend is a Marine. I have friends who are in the Army. So I never want to call myself a soldier because I feel like they earned that title. But
you're a warrior.
Yeah, take the warrior and take a soldier like for your family because there are people like who are in like, they're considered the guerrilla warfare attacks, or like the rebels, the resistance. And that's sometimes rebel armies are taking over countries. And like, that's why certain countries are what they are today. Like the starting of the United States, the start of the British Empire. Like there's always something about it that like there was some resistance that came to power. But well, the reason I say that is just out of respect for every one of our servicemen and women. I don't take that, but I do say being a warrior for my family, like I would do anything. Like I would die. I don't care. That's why I'll see fighters and people, I'm like, you stop showing up to the gym now that you got into the UFC. You stop showing up to the gym now that you got in the PFL. They cut you. Now you can't come and train. You do this. And some people just like to be popular. Some people just like that. But it's like, I've fallen off a bike before. I'm not going to be like, oh my gosh, I'm not getting on a bike. I'm like, let me get back on. If we fly off the side of this mountain, so be it. I believe in going to heaven. Now it'd be terrible to wake up in hell and be a bad day. But, you know, I look at it like, hey, like this is what I chose to do. But I do owe it to my future wife and kids to say, hey, don't be fearful. Like I pray to God that you're the one that bears me, I don't have to bury you. But don't you go through this life. If you want to be a doctor, if you want to invent something new, a tattoo artist, just do not be fearful and limit what that dream meant in your heart. It's the worst feeling. I've met people like, what would you wish you could have done? And they're like, I wish I went for it and I can't now, or this. I'm like, anything that freaks me out. Like to say, I didn't go for it. Like, no way.
Yeah.
No way.
You can never achieve anything great if you're fearful. And you don't realize it until the end when you look back and you're like, man, I wish I would have done that thing that I always dreamed of.
Oh God, I hate that. Owning a business, owning a gym is one of the most challenging, most rewarding, most amazing endeavors I've ever had. Right? Especially where people fight or come to train or release and you see what it's becoming.
Is it a martial arts gym?
It's a martial arts gym. We call it the refinery. Impa's refinery is what I started at. So when I first started fighting, I had to make a decision because I was like, military for sure, or this, or if you're not, you're gonna be a CPA. But it was like, fight this, but when you do, you're committing all the way. But I said, what do I need to do to become? Like, I don't know why at that time. I don't even know how that thought process came in my head. Maybe I was just on one that day. But I go, I sat down. I was like, and I was sitting like by this lake in North Carolina. And I said, okay, if you're gonna do this, you got to really commit to this. But what does it mean? It's like, okay, what do you always have to do? The day you decide to stop refining yourself is the day you stop. And then it's, oh, that's what I'll call it. So I just committed. I said, as an amateur, I need to refine. As a pro, I need to refine. And you'll see people fight. They're beast. And then 4 or 5 years later, they didn't change. For me, it's like I pray to God that I can always refine and get better. And that was it. So that's what became the refinery. I started training clients. It's the refinery. Like refining is like to take away the impurities, right? Like the true root of it. Like I was looking at gold. Like I run with you through the fire. We remove the impurities, but I do it with you. So our training in the gym is like that. Dieter Navarro, head trainer. Elvin Espinoza, head of MMA. Angel Alvarez. We have Alfredo Garcia. Like all these guys like that, like helped me become who I am today. We run it together. And it just grows and it grows and it grows and it grows this community. Gosh, it's been awesome. It's been a challenge too. But God has been blessing it so much. I'm so grateful. But to see people refine themselves, that's more important to me. I don't care if you fight or not. That's on you. But are you going to come out of this place better than the person that you from the first day you walked into by like pushing yourself? And that's my goal.
What role does discipline play in like this constant refining of yourself? Is discipline a big part of your life?
Discipline is major, right? And that's funny. Like I remember last year, it's like, gosh, did I lose my discipline? Right? Sometimes you can get your discipline confused, like whether you're distracted, right? Like you think you're moving as a unit with people and it's not. So I would always like question myself. But discipline is, I say faith and discipline are everything, right? Discipline is when you get cracked, are you going to make that move and that adjustment to stick with it or take that shot? Or are you going to say, okay, cower away? Discipline is, I hate the cold plunge. I hate ice. Like I hate the cold. Like it's funny enough to talk about possibly moving to Denver at a point. Like, and I was like, God, the only reason I'm doing this is because if you call me to go there, I'll do it, and I trust you. And
what would be in Denver for you?
So I have a great opportunity. Race, I guess the first I'm announcing it, but I'll be starting with a company called Ernst & Young, EY. It's a consulting firm, one of the big 4 accounting practices. So I'll be
so you're getting back into accounting in a real way. You think that focusing on things like accounting, this is probably feedback you get from people you've had to shut down, but like running your own business with the gym and starting an accounting career again, do you think that's going to take away from your potential as a fighter?
Well, that's where the discipline comes in, right? So I think the only way you can actually earn multiple, like that use multiple talents is to have very obsessive, extreme discipline, right? And the times where I messed up or where I was like, how can I'm going to sit here? No, like you don't get that choice. Like I'll go right back into my office and work until 3 or 4 in the morning and love it. What I say is this, right? And fighting is different, right? Like fighting is a career. It's probably like motocross, I would say, or some stuff like that where it's like very individualized, where like you earn and part of that pot goes to your trainers, to your team, to people. I'm pretty sure if you're on a team like a Red Bull or something, maybe they have like the principal gets paid and people get paid from the company. But I would say imagine like as you come up the rider, the fighter, you pay part of what you get. And I think about, I love this saying, like, do not be the person who wants to win in a year only. Of course, like focus on your short term. Who's going to win in 20 years? When I'm 51 and I gave a big percentage of all that I've ever earned, and then I have to look at my kids in the face, are you going to call me as a trainer, as a friend, as a training partner and say, hey, remember that money that we earned together? I'm going to send you something back so your kids can have a good life.
Well, also, right. You like one of your primary goals, it sounds like, is to have a family.
Oh, absolutely.
Fighting is not a career that you can do forever. So
right.
Like, it's smart that right now you're thinking about the future and like what you can do long term, because like this is a really cool endeavor that you're in right now, and like you're making the most of it as long as you can. But there's going to come a day where like you're not going to fight anymore.
I tell you, that'll be the day that I cry for sure.
And, yeah, that'll suck. You can still train and like,
right.
Speaking of that, another thing I wanted to ask you about is like, as a fighter, thinking long term, do you ever worry about the impacts of like head injuries and the things that you're putting your body through?
No. And I guess kind of both questions go hand in hand, which I really appreciate the questions. Like, you're kind of like bringing things out that I haven't thought, like, I had to speak about or talk about. But when people ask me, why do you do accounting? Why do you do moto? Why do you own this business? Why are you looking to buy this business? Why are you in med tech? You know, like with company Neuro 42. Why are you in all this? Well, it's for that reason. It's like, I'm a warrior through all of that. And it's for my future wife and needs. It's even for my trades. If my trainer ever needs me in the future, we're not training, I'm like, yeah, you changed my life. But to be worried about what I committed to, why? Like, and that to me is part of committed to the adventure. Could I potentially have brain things? I'm going to speak life and pray that I don't, and trust God. And by faith, I believe that. I also do understand that there's that, but there's a great way. And I love to read. So like, I'll like to take these over notes. I have a full journal, and it says, if you know your destiny, then you know your fate. But within that time where discipline comes in, it's like doing recovery, eating great food. I've had times where I did not eat, drink, or anything that I need to do. Definitely to like the JB Mooney bull rider, do whatever you want and beat people up, live life how crazy, whatever, forget this. Okay, cool, we're at the pub, we're doing it. Trust me, that's the honest truth. You know, you're going through a very like unregulated, undisciplined part of your life, but that also shows you like, hey, I'm just down to do it. There's a cowboy approach, coaches say. And you just get up and you go, and there's a much prepared. You want the guys who are the cowboys. You want the guys who are like, I don't care. Look, I was supposed to eat this salmon day, drink these omega-3s, and I was supposed to be on all my supplements. And then there's a guy who's like, crap, it didn't come in time. The Amazon order went somewhere else. I'm so bad. But there are people who are so prepared and they just fold because they don't have everything that's perfect. And there are people who are also very like reckless, like, I don't care. And they'll still, so you want both.
Yeah. I think you want the confidence, but you also want to approach it intelligently, because like training properly, recovery is so important.
100%.
Dude, speaking of recovery, I brought you a little gift.
No, what?
Dude, this is a really cool company that sponsors me. Echo. They make these water bottles that they have like a little electrolysis system at the bottom. And when you turn it on, it's really cool. It changes the chemistry of your water and adds molecular hydrogen into the water.
What?
And the hydrogen is really good for your body and recovery.
You serious?
It's good for mental clarity. It's good for like immunity. It's good for like every part of your biology is like benefits from this hydrogen water. I drink it every day. It's cool because I'm super into like health and wellness and like fitness and feeling and looking my best. And dude, I've been using these for like 2 years now. It's so sick.
I'm gonna test that out.
I'll send you a video of how to use it. It's super simple. It's literally, you just charge it up and like put water in it, press the button, and it basically goes through that electrolysis system in the bottom and removes the hydrogen molecules from the water, and it just basically suspends it in the water, and then your cells can absorb it a lot easier. And it's just like really good for you. So yeah.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, check it out. They're super cool. It's
so cool how things work out that way too.
Yeah.
Man,
it's cool.
That's
you were talking about recovery, and I was just like, dude, you could benefit from one of these.
Well, it's so funny you say that, man. And I'm very honest, truth, right? So I guess this is kind of time to talk about it. So thank you so much.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Thank you so much.
Enjoy it.
Pre-UFC, I was very like green shape, recovery, do this. You're like doing it all right. This is what you're told to do. This is what you're told to do. You end and you get cut. And I was like, so you did all this stuff for the right way to a degree. Of course, you get to do better. I had kidney failure. You get cut. Oh my God, I don't even drink.
Kidney failure?
Yeah, I had acute kidney failure.
Overtraining?
Training, I think. I felt like I was sick, but I also was like, I tried to cut out sugars and stuff, and I thought I was going the healthy route. Maybe went too extreme.
Like you were in like ketosis.
Yeah, all the time.
Went too far. You probably were too calorie restricted.
100%.
Probably training too hard, not recovering enough.
Not enough. I thought I was. I thought
just depleted your adrenal system.
Yeah.
You were like total burnout. That's what happens, dude.
Yeah. And then I go to a fight. I'm like, I don't feel so. Sorry, puking. And I was with a friend, and I'm sitting at his hotel puking like everything. And he's like, what's going on? I couldn't retain water anymore, so I was like rehydrating. And he's like, I could still fight. And I was still trying to fight. It was like hours and hours. The doctors told me there's a few hours, few more minutes, whatever could have been, you could have been dead. Like,
dude.
Sure. And I remember I was like, from what? He's like, your body is rejecting everything. After a while, you could have went into like complete, I don't know if it's shock. I don't know the medical terms. I don't know anything. So, anybody on the, don't come for me. I don't know that stuff. But all I know is when the doctor was like, you really could have died if you didn't handle this. I was like, I guess that's part of committing to.
You don't know if it was like a hydration issue or if it's just probably a combination of
so
everything.
I do need a Simon cut weight. We drove from North Carolina to Mississippi to fight. I was not feeling good already. I started puking. I was like, whatever. But I tried to drink some Gatorade. It rejected it. Tried to drink some water, rejected it. Then I would get really, really hot. And I hate being cold to the point where I said, here, just he kept running to the, the hotels, you throw the ice bucket machines, kept pouring ice on me on the hotel bed. All in the showers, I put some cold water. I couldn't figure out. Then I get really hot. I'm like, get the ice off of me. Then I get cold, then I get hot, then I get cold, then I get hot. And then my body just kept like, my regular thing said, get me to the hospital. My weight was super low. I don't remember.
Dude, that's why, like I was saying earlier, cutting weight is so gnarly on your body.
Yeah.
They should, in my opinion, with fighting, I'm not an expert. I don't know anything about fighting. So like, might be stupid, but I think they should quit cutting. Like, I think you should have to just fight at your weight. Like, they should weigh you in, I don't know, a couple times. I don't know how they would control it.
They've tried.
But you should have to like fight at your natural weight and not a couple days before cut down 20 pounds because it's so unhealthy for you.
Well, that's the thing. It's like discipline. If you're disciplined throughout the year, and shout out to Lucas Prata, he's been my new nutritionist. And that was the honest conversation I was like, man, like, to be real with you, it's not like I never ate healthy. People think it's like, I've always been a very, like, since I was a kid, I didn't eat junk food from 5th grade. Shout out to my 5th grade teacher, Miss Ballastone. I say she changed my life. I didn't eat junk food from 5th grade to high school, like, at all. I didn't drink soda, maybe random sodas here and there. But I would drink hot water with lemon. Didn't even know it was good for me. Like, in 5th grade, I would work out all the time. I didn't play sports, so I was always just working out to be healthy. I just played high school football, college football, never drank, nothing like that. Not till I was 26. When I got to the UFC, I was like, okay. And you do all this, and it's not their fault. Like, this is me, probably just a maturity thing. Like, I lost 2 fights, I won 2 fights. Some people they keep, some they don't. I don't know. But I knew God had a better plan, and I wish I just leaned into that. But I was like, all right, cool. We're just going off the rails. We're going to do what we want to do. Like, I'm not
like, if I'm going to lose anyways, like, I might as well just have fun.
Right,
and, like, if this isn't helping
and then
me.
you keep winning, so then it's a whole mind trick. You're like,
does that stuff really make a difference?
That's what, that's why. Because I remember, this is bad. God forgive me, but like, your teammates, you talk trash, it's fighting, but guys, like, you're going through all this conditioning and do all this stuff. I had a pack of beer, I could still beat you. Like, it was not.
Dude, that was like Michael Jordan.
Yeah.
Like, you'd drink a beer and like go golfing with the boys and then go to a basketball game. And,
worst place in my life. And I said, like I said, I thought I was gonna get married. This girl, they lied too loud, and like all these different things. So I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna go to the gym and just release these demons. I was just like train. But then you go into fights, you're knocking people out, you're winning fights, you're like, woohoo, you're on this one.
I think that's more of the, like, so when you're overthinking every aspect of it, you're probably a little more uptight, a little more neurotic. When you're like, I don't give a fuck. Like, you kind of go in with this loose mentality. It's more about the mentality. So if you can like maintain that confidence and the like, I don't care mentality and be on your game with training and nutrition and sleep, like, then that's like the perfect combo.
Well, that's where I get a lot of compliments from people. Like, they say, we think one of your greatest strengths as a fighter is your mental strength. And I think I always say it's my faith. Another strength I was raised, like, I just get up, like, take that, put the hat on, cowboy hat on, keep riding, all that, right? My trainer told me, he's like, you say you used to, like, do everything, like, all this stuff, right? I'm like, yeah, yes, sir, he does. Imagine the mindset that you have. Everybody talks about it, but you just lock back in nutritionally it is. And I have, and I could definitely see where my trainer, like, oh yeah. Everybody's like, this past camp it's been the best camp. I'm very looking for it. And I'm the most at peace I've ever been. No matter what I have to do in business or life, most at peace I've ever been going into this fight. I met the right person. All these different things. As I chose to just like get back to myself, I was like, God's like, now you're better. I think God does bless your obedience, right? So I went from kind of just like in a really hurt place, to be honest. It was just like, okay, you're thinking of this, especially your best friend. They like all these things are just like, God, like one more thing, Lord. And I'll say here in a minute, when I do stupid stuff, I've done many stupid things. When I do the right thing, I'll say it too. But I remember just being like this. So I talked to Lucas Prata. He's an awesome nutritionist. I got to work with this camp. And I just told him, like, hey, let's work year round. I don't feel like I could fight at 170 again if I wanted to, or fight 85. But it's just that discipline. And you say, that's really about discipline and all how important it is. It is the most important.
I want to take a quick break to tell you about an apparel brand that's changing the game. In a world full of fast fashion and forgettable trends, with no regard for quality or integrity, It's rare to find a brand that actually stands for something. Foreign Rider is one of those brands, and it's my absolute favorite apparel company for a reason. Founded by my friend Ralph Dunning, a pioneer in performance wear with over 30 years of experience, Foreign Rider blends timeless design with technical precision. Ralph built this brand for people like us, riders, explorers, creators, people who live active lives and need gear they can keep up. Every piece is made with ethics, intention, and excellence. There's no shortcuts, just clean, functional design built to last. Ralph has literally traveled to the ends of the earth to source the finest performance materials on the planet. There's a reason I wear their products almost every day. The fit, the feel, the quality, it's on another level. Foreign Rider's not just clothing, it's a mindset, a reminder to live with intention, to choose quality over quantity, and the exploration of freedom. Check out the full collection at foreignrider.com. I promise, once you wear it, there's no going back.
You said the battery?
Yeah, dude, speaking of failures and rolling with the punches, I've had so many technical issues just figuring out this mobile setup. I have 2 battery banks in my truck, and they connect together to power as like one big battery. They were connected together, but for some reason the second one wasn't feeding the first one, so it only had like 50% of the battery, and I just unplugged it and plugged it in a different port on the battery. Now it's working, so hopefully we didn't lose the footage or anything, but
if we gotta do it again, we do it again. It's all good.
I have the audio for sure. I'm pretty sure I have the footage, so regardless, like we have something. But you know, thanks for the patience, dude.
Oh, good. Man, hey, that's the cool part about seeing something get built. Like, it's just, who knows? I think that's one of the coolest setups ever. When you pull it up, I was like, no way, is that where I'm? Oh, cool. But part of it, right? Like truly commit to it. Like you're doing this, something that's amazing. I looked through all your clips and I was like, oh, this is really cool. But people don't see that part, right?
Yeah. There's been times when I've shown up to an interview, like I drove all the way to Utah, meet up with a buddy to record, and then one of the mics wasn't working. So I had to go like find an audio store and buy a new one. And, you know, there's another one where I didn't have the fans circulating the air and the camera's overheated and they shut off mid-interview. So it's just figuring out these bugs, dude. I don't know what happened there, but
it's all good.
We roll with it.
Roll with it for sure.
But speaking of like content creation and media, I've noticed that it's something you're also interested in too, is like filmmaking and photography and like this creative side. Where does that come from?
I guess that part is like a really real part of my life. Like you go through the year, you go through the farm, start doing some little motorcycle content off your phone. I had a broken back camera, but I was just on my phone, and I was grateful that Tribe even saw that. I was like, hey, like, oh yeah, we'll send you a bike. You work with this, do this. That's one of the biggest blessings in my life. Not only my favorite bike brand, like I think before that, I already owned a Triumph. I was just like, oh, I get to work with y'all, cool. Now I was like, on the farm, I got really sick. So I had a really bad staph infection, MRSA, and they don't know if I got it from being on the farm. They don't know if I got it from the gym.
I'm from the gym.
Yeah, both. And then my body part was recovering because you're sleeping in the heat in South Florida. Maybe I got bit by a bug. Like your body's immune system my body's immune system kept crashing.
Dude, you've been beat up a few times with staph infection. That's no joke.
No,
kidney failure. That's no joke.
Failure, right? I've been knocked out, right? But you keep riding though. You keep riding. And that's why I was like, that's why I love Blue Red. I love like the idea of like having my own ranch one day. It's just like, you just keep moving forward. I'm not doing it for myself, for future family. Like why I do have so many different pursuits, because I'm like, I'm not worried if fighting ends. I'm over here like, I'll cry for a day. Mm-hmm. Right. But,
on to the next adventure though.
And like what happened was I was in the hospital and I didn't want to go back into the gym because I didn't know like if I was going to go, I don't want to get anybody get sick if I had staph. And 2, I didn't know why I kept like getting these bugs, like hidradenitis like formed from that. So it's like your lymph nodes get attacked. So I was just like out of it. I was in the hospital for a week, and I was just like, that was like a death, life threatening. It could be. I mean, Ben Askren,
quickly.
Could be because Ben Askren nearly had
the dude with the lungs.
Yeah, they had pneumonia. That's the one, right? So things like that can happen. I didn't get to that point, but when I see it now, I'm like, oh shoot! Like, that was my second time getting staph, and I did not know how bad it could be. First time I ever got staph was my last fight with the UFC. I didn't tell anybody, but this is a funny story now. I got it. I didn't know because I didn't really see a bump. I was like, what is that? It just hurts. And
it starts out as like a rash.
Yeah, like a little bump on my knee. And then I just like, health started declining. I had a flap the next week for my fight. I took a towel in the hotel, wrapped it around my leg, popped it, and I was draining it, and then I pretty much pulled the core of the infection out. I texted the doctor, boss. He's like, yeah, I think that's the core infection. How'd you do that? I was like, yo, I took a knife, cut it, and I was like,
Right before the fight?
Yeah, before the fight, I had a little hole in my leg, and it was nasty. Yeah, and it kept draining in the shower. I was like, but I remember when it came out, I was like, oh, my body was just like,
really?
Yeah, it was weird. It was really,
It's just like a little pocket of like,
yeah, just pus and stuff, just like a lot. And because my whole leg was like starting to swell up, treble weight cut, was throwing up everywhere.
did that affect your fight? Like,
Oh, yeah. I mean, I hit the guy for sure, but then he hit me, and I hit the guy, then he hit me, and then it was over. So,
well, you were probably like way physically compromised. Your immune
I didn't
system
even
was
rehydrate
down.
properly. I mean, it was like waiting at 169, maybe 170. Literally, I was finding a lower weight class, and then I probably got up to 180, not even 180, 170 something, which I probably had no business. But you know, there's different reasons why you fight, and like obviously, I went for it. I was looking to clean the victory, but also like help your family. You make a good check that day, and you can do what you need to do. I'm not ashamed of it. I don't regret it. Like if anything, I was like, hey, yeah, you probably could have died that fight, but whatever, you move forward. But right, so this time in the hospital, I was staff, and I started getting the cameras, and I would go to Delray Beach.
Just randomly? Like,
Yeah,
you're like,
I think there's
I
something
wanna
special
shoot
about
some
photography.
photos.
Yeah, I don't know. Like there's to this day, like, I want to get really good at it. I'm not where I want to be at. Or different people. I like how they did things. They don't like how they do things. Some people taught me that it's just all that, but it's a whole learning process, right? But I like
Just another thing you can work towards, man.
Yeah.
I've done a lot of I've done a few episodes so far with some of our top photographers that you should listen to and maybe learn a little bit too.
I think I was looking through. There's a guy,
Aaron Brimhall, and then Tyler Revell.
Yep, Tyler Revell was the one I was looking at. Yeah.
They're both amazing moto photographers.
Really?
Yeah.
I started looking at their stuff. It was really, really cool. Shout out to you guys. That inspires. That I swear, like I've had some really cool moments. Like not that I'm like technically, I couldn't explain aperture this, shutter speed, like barely just learning it, but seeing people like how hard you work at that. I can't really imagine how hard those guys work at what they do, but that inspires me. So I'm on the bike. I wasn't going in the gym. So when I was able to clear to go to the gym, I still didn't start training right away because I was at the hospital. I didn't know it was wrong. Alex would let me and Ryan Loco said, here, use a nifty 50 to start taking photos of the fighters. I was like, oh, this is fun. So I started taking photos of the fighters, and like from a fighter's perspective, I was catching different moments. This is really cool. So the PFL was really nice enough to let me go cage side and take photos in my first year. So I was taking photos of the cage. They teach me how to mess with the focus so I could actually look through the cage and it'll make the cage disappear. And I was like, how do y'all do that? So they're teaching me. And then I kept doing it. But the reason I thought was I love fighting. I love moto. I was door dashing on my motorcycle and I couldn't go into the gym. So everywhere I wanted to start taking photos of stuff, trying to create cool little videos with my bike and my phone and pre-triumph. I just wanted to take these adventures and encourage people to commit to the adventure. That was like kind of like where the series started coming from. And then I was like, oh, you could do this. And then like people were very nice, like Enoch and all these other guys were very like, hey, you could do this. Like you're capturing things naturally. But I mean, how I look at fighting, like you'll fight naturally, but then there's a level to be at the top. And that's kind of where I was. I was like, I would see something. I was like, I hope this is a good picture. I think in one night I took over 1,000 photos out of the fight. And they're like, how you take so? I was like, I don't know. I was just snapping until I found. So like, then you were fine. And so I started watching videos like on guys like Alan Scheller, and I really like black and white photography, monochromatic photography. And so I could Leica cameras a lot. It was like, oh, these are cool. And I think film and video are cool, like to portray something, but there's something special about a photo that I still don't know. I just went like, would you like go by like I saw my friend Vincent, he does a lot of photography. He was teaching me about like moto photography a little bit, like briefly, and I was asking him questions, and he does all kinds of photography, but took such a beautiful photo recently. A lighthouse, a guy, like a fisherman, an old boat. I don't know where he is. And it's just beautiful. And like, man, I get to travel so much around the world. It's like, man, I think I could really make a solid photo series. I have to add more discipline and commit to it. But with the love for moto, getting into design, like companies like Aimé Leon d'Or and like how they take the very creative approach. I want to create a brand that encourages others to commit to their adventure. And whether it's clothing, yes, but through art. And like, I love photography, but I thought I was never going to fight again. Like, I thought that's where my career, like, ended because I thought I was like, I didn't know how my body would respond after that. So I got really, at that time, it was months.
After the staph infection.
Yeah, after the staph infection, was in the hospital. And then I wasn't getting a fight. people weren't taking fights. I was trying to get a fight. I wanted to fight recently. I was waiting. I was like, God, if this is your redirection, I'm gonna lean super hard into photography, take photos of moto, surf, adventure, and I'm gonna turn this into a career. And then I still want to do it. I really
can,
do.
yeah.
I still really want to do it. I want to learn so much, but for me, it's like the focus is, claim his victory, continue obviously fighting, but I want to take a lot of that and invest back into the learning process. But I love photography. And when I see how people like play with light, emotions, editing software,
So much you can do.
there's so much you can do. And like people build careers out of this, and
Yeah.
it's cool.
And as you, like you said, you shot 1,000 photos that one night, just trying to figure out how to do it. And like, eventually you refine it enough to where you have your own vision and your own style.
Right.
In the way that you shoot and the way that you edit, and you kind of develop that over time. And it'll be cool to see
I'm excited.
what your photography becomes in time.
Thank you.
Speaking of like that creative side of you, do you feel like fighting is a creative act at all?
Right. Yeah. To me, fighting's an art. It's not all that it is. It's a violent art. It's an art of violence, combat, conversation. But there's,
Yes, that's why they call it martial arts.
martial arts, right? Yeah. And there's the artistry of it is like to cut somebody's skin open and face open, and they try to do it to you and you make them missing. There's a beauty when you hear that punch go past your ear, or when they kick and like you forge your body, like you're sculpting yourself into something too. There's so many parts of it, right? There's an abstractness to it. There's a part where you have to stay within the lines and be very rigid, like almost like if you're painting like an office building where you just got to be disciplined to start laying the foundation. And then there's like where you become that artist who's like on all sorts of drugs and you're just painting and just becoming this thing because you get a flow. There are times where you have to slow it back down and just keep it black and white. And my trainer says, he goes, I give you this canvas, right? But it's your job to paint it. That's all. And it's kind of cool because the fighting floor is called a canvas. So like that's where you get to these are your brushes, these are your spray paint, whatever you decide to do that day. And then each fight, the tools that you use to create that art are different. So I look at it that way. And I think the more you lean into it, is what's important, right? They're always like, they think the corny phrases, but it's true. It's like, it's better to be the warrior in the garden, the gardener who's at the war. Like, I would say so, right? But the coach goes, you love to learn. But think about it. You have this garden, you plant this one flower, and then you start building stuff all around it. But don't forget what your base is, right? So like, if you're a boxer, you might like to grab people wrestle, but you might not be as good at it yet. Have that skill set and use that brush. And I like to look at fighting that way. And I think that's why it's peaceful. It's not like this, like, I don't hate my opponent. It's like, you don't have to hate someone to kill it. Like, it's just, you love it because you get to like work on all these tools and these different art forms. Like I had a friend who said, treat this like school. Like, and that's why you asked me earlier, like, do people tell you, should you slow down or whatever? Because you're just like, no, I'm in school. Today, like a lot of my school is combat school, but I want to be great at finance school. I want to win in 20 years. I want to be that guy. So when I go into a fight, I finally get to use these tools from this class. But the more and more you study a subject, the higher level, the more intricate it gets, the more demanding it gets. And that's where you just have to be that much more disciplined and organized. So like, I love it. When it talks about fighting, I'll talk about fighting all day long. I love the fact that somebody knows they want to kill you and that's like their thing. And like, shout out to the last guy that I fought, Fabian Edwards. He won. Beautiful elbow, gave me this little Harry Potter looking scar, right? And I'll never forget that, but it also makes you sharper. And that's what makes you, to me, a better artist one day. And like, I love the art of it. Like you become mad with it. You're like, oh, like when I went to the doctor, like, we can remove your scar. I'm like, don't remove it. Just like flatten it. I want to have like a rhino horn in my head, but I want to keep that. I don't know. Like that's part of
your story.
Yeah. It's part of my art. And like, there's nothing like being in that cage. I tell everybody you should be in a fight once.
I have this scar from racing motocross.
Ooh.
I have a titanium plate and 14 screws in there, and I have a screw in my hand. And I was like, they're like, you can, try to like heal the scar and let it go. I'm like, no, I don't want the scar to go away.
Right.
That's a battle scar, man. Like I earned that scar
100%
through pain and through like dedication, and like I don't want to forget about
never
those hard times.
Never. I love that.
Yeah.
I love that.
And I love, dude, I'm so inspired by this idea of like the balance between artistry and being a warrior. and how those two can kind of balance each other out. And you can find inspiration based on like being your best self rather than hate for the other person. It's more like a personal challenge rather than using like the shit talking as your fuel. I think that's cool.
I appreciate you. Well, for me, it's like I realized the times where I fought angry or this. Yeah, I've had fights where I've won and fought angry or you get angry. But I also recognize I wasn't my best self in my last two fights. Like I wasn't like in the most like I wasn't tapped into that most artistic way of my life and that freest part because I just kind of wanted to give the narrative to other people. Like, okay, you tell me what to do. Now you just when you first become like before fighting, become champion, nobody wants to work with you. Like, you're the guy that got knocked out by Buckley. This I never forget. I talked to Dieter and it's like, oh yeah, some people say that guy's career is over. This, but I'm like, I'll be a champion one day. Ask Dieter, I say, why do you want to work with like why do you work with? Unless you want to be a world champion, I don't want to work with you. I'm like, cool. So we work together. We've learned and grown together so much. And he stuck with me. We were making no money in his fights, and then we do the big fights and everything. Then everybody wants to work with him. And then you have a bad moment, nobody wants to work with him. But he's always stuck with me. And there are other trainers who have too. But he's always been the mania. And I'll never forget it because I'm like, don't worry. Like, I promise God is my witness. I say this interview for the rest of my life on my last name and my faith. Like, his life changed somewhat. My life changed somewhat. But you see nothing yet. As a fighter in life and business, like, I'll do anything for him, my family, my future family. But it's moments like that that make you realize, like, those scars, those moments, those things that you go through are like the things you never should run away from, right? I love, it says in faith, it's like, I will boast all the more gladly about my weaknesses, right? Because that's where God gives you the strength. Like, once you talk about your weaknesses, where you failed, where like your heart was broken, then you just start seeking out girls, unless you're not really like looking for that. But then you find somebody, you're like, like, my heart is in a great place, and you're doing this, or you're around negative people, and then you do that. That's a reflection of your fight. You're fighting angry. My last two fights, my brain was all over the place. And there's a lot of pain, there's a lot of hurt. You put a lot into people at that time, right? You put a lot into yourself, you get distracted. You bring people along with you, like, hey, let's do this. Let's create this. And then you're just like, why? But instead of communicating it, it becomes like a self-sabotaging thing where you're like, I believe in you. Come on, let's do this. Let's create the YouTube channel. Let's do these photos. Let's do this. And it's just like, oh, you don't, but they don't have the perspective of you door dashing on your bike. They don't have the perspective of, I'll bring you in. You don't have to pay for it. They don't have that perspective. And like, the reason I share this is like, anybody listening, like, really reevaluate who you have around you every single day. But when you clear all that out, you start eating healthy again. You have this life. You still have your fun. You still do whatever. You find your freedom again. And then you can tap more into your artistry. But if you look at great artists, musicians, people who went mad and crazy, I think they had those moments, and that's what they found, like I
think a lot of the best art comes from pain and suffering, and like people who have gone through hard things are going through hard things. That creates the best art as well. Think about like Kurt Cobain with Nirvana. Like he was, tortured on the inside, but he changed music. And like, a lot of the most creative people, like Nikola Tesla, he was like a great inventor back in the day. He was, a little bit crazy, and like a little bit, artists become obsessed and crazy, and a lot of them have like issues.
Right. And I think that's why I tell people, tell my girls, you have to be slightly unhinged to date me. Or pretty unhinged. I
don't know. You seem pretty grounded to me. I think you get obsessed with the things that you're passionate about.
Right.
But I think you have a good head on your shoulders. And
well, there's a craziness to me that I think that people don't necessarily see right away. Because I do get the comment like, goes down saying you're grounded. For sure, but only reason I'm grounded, I promise to God. If my mom and dad didn't get on my butt when I was little, that and Jesus. Because I tell you, other than that, I'd be wild. And I have a little brother and sister who gave me so much purpose. But if I didn't have them, oh my gosh, Lord knows I'd be working for a cartel or something.
Yeah.
But
I think you need that adrenaline rush of some sort.
Oh my gosh, I love it. And it's like, the more and more I think about it, I'm like, man, like, I want to do the squirrel suit flying one day. And as I get 150 jumps, or you start looking at all these qualifications a while back. But there's something about that, like, if it wasn't for my faith, like for me, especially personally, I'd probably be very off the rails. And like my brain goes there, and like I love it. But there's that thing about fightable. You can just go, like, I have a teammate, Hyder, who I train with all camp. It just gets violent. It gets this like, you want to win. But it's not unbalanced or terrible training, like where like it becomes like you start like your training starts to depreciate, you go because you're always working on something. And you love that and you love that and you love that. So you're always like seeking that, okay, you got this on Tuesday, I'm gonna get you on there. You did this Wednesday, I'm gonna see you Friday. Like there's this.
It's good to have that outlet too for that, for your personality, to have that outlet for that aggression and that chaos and that just letting that animal spirit out and like just getting it out. I think it's super important for someone like you.
I need it.
Based on your experience in this life so far, what does it mean to achieve greatness?
Man, to achieve greatness to me, it's when you look back on your life and the future, like I guess there are ways like currently, like there's like a past achievement of greatness, there's a current, like present day achievement of greatness, there's a future. So when I look back on the past, I look back how far we've come, being homeless, living on a farm, losing some of my family as kids, where my parents came from, and being able to represent, be a professional athlete, be it on the world stage. Super cool. That's great in your family because you're showing like the next generation people you came in. It shows your parents like the sacrifices you made are worth it, right? Like we all lived in the apartment in North Carolina. My brother and I slept on the floor on the mattresses. Then my little brother moves in with me and now he's coaching. Like those parts are greatness that maybe the world will never see. You get a world title, you're in rare company, you're a world champion, greatness, right? To get a world title, then people tell you that the only world title is another organization that matters. And then you finally learn about yourself. You're like, you don't get to validate me. Just because you never did doesn't mean you get to say that I'm not a champion because of this. And all these other people respect you. So you learn that. So you like the greatness of learning who you are in the present day and realizing like, it is good to cut people off. It is good to let things go and like fight or something. That to me is greatness as well. And how you treat people. For all the mistakes I've made, learning to forgive myself and learning to forgive others, that's present day greatness. The greatness that I set out to achieve is that one day when I die and go to heaven, that God says, well done, my good and faithful servant. And when I look back on my life and I'm not fighting, I'm not the bull riding mindset anymore, that my kids will one day say like, Dad shows God's love like in an unconditional way. But the day that I get married, that my wife will say, you are a great man from the beginning to the end of your life. And that you've done all these accomplishments. You've done this, you built these businesses, these companies, like you've been disciplined, you've shown it. What to me greatness will be is that my kids will want to come, the day that I have kids, that they want to come back home and visit, that my wife will always be my best friend, that my parents will be proud of the person that I've become and becoming, and now in person becoming, and then my brother and sister know they can always call me, right? And to my in-laws one day. Like that to me is greatness. Everything else is a bonus and a plus. Like multiple titles is cool. We'll get those. I think you can do that with your eyes closed as long as you're disciplined and you go out there and choose to fight. I'm not saying it's easy, but I'm saying in a sense like you keep winning, that's going to come, right? And if there's politics in it, they say you're not going to fight for the fight. Don't let that be your validation. Does my church community love or respect me? Do people know about my mistakes and realize that like I've turned my life around in ways too? That to me is more greatness. And then the things like, did you always stand your ground and like keep your word on this? And that to me is greatness. So the greatness that I seek now is like, yes, like build great companies in this, but more importantly, it's like when it's all said and done and I'm not in that position anymore, did you respect?
Yeah. Being the best version of yourself outside of the achievements and accomplishments. Do the people that you love and respect and love you.
Yeah. 100%.
That's greatness.
That's it. That's 100% for me.
Yeah. I love that.
Appreciate it.
What's the hardest lesson you've learned along the way?
Oh man. Hardest lesson I've learned along the way is that in this past year, right? I used to think, oh my gosh, living in this car is not fun. Living in this year, no, it's a pretty good time now. I look back at it. It's people you would consider like great friends and people you know for years or people that you work with. And like, you have to recognize, like, you've given me an opportunity to be on your podcast, right? I can't say like, oh, I've done this. No, like you give me the opportunity. And for me, it's like, let's say you came here and I just didn't show up. Like you did all this work. But the Lord knows what sacrifices you had to make and what you went through in life as a child, as a person, as a man. And like, and then not to show up. That's one of the biggest lessons I've learned. Like, not everybody's going to work for your dream the same way that I've been reflecting on that a lot recently. People you love, like you've given the opportunity to say, hey, let's do this together. And maybe there are parts of your life you didn't lead right. Maybe this, but it's like when you really like shelled out money, giving your best, Like people will always see it as an opportunity that can only serve them. How I built the life is like, how can I serve you? When you own a business, like my goal is to serve the employees, serve the clients, serve the people, and God will bless it. Yes, you'll get your return. But the hardest lesson has been like, you can love people as much as you want. You can give your all. They'll still lie to you. You can love people and forgive and this, and then they'll just take. And then my Bible study leader from, I was in Cuba, we were talking about funny is, isn't it funny when the lights turn on, how fast the cockroaches run away? And I thought that was funny. He's like, and then the ones who stick around, never forget them. And then one day he blessed them. And I truly believe here, like I was saying, like our days goes to be a trillionaire, like to own that, but not because I want to like flex or do this. Like that's not my style. It's like I want to be able to bless people. I want to bless my family, future family. Other people call me that here, but like those who've been there for you, because people see you at the highest world champion, they want to run with you. What is? All right, cool. Let's build this because if you have a champion, like if you look at great like champions like Tom Brady, Michael Jordan, even in business and life, they've had people around and they kept going and having successful endeavors. Athletes who had okay and they weren't really disciplined or anything, you see after, it's the same. And that's what it is from a sports to business perspective. I thought to myself, give me 2 years, I could do anything, right? Less. And with the moto stuff, with the other things I thought like got like kind of like hit pretty hard. I was like, gosh, like just focus on what we were setting out to do. We could have done it. If you just focus on this, and it's like, the reason I chose this house so we could all live together. Like, there's so many different things where like why you pursue this person, like they stick with you in life and you love them, and then all these different heartbreaks and heartaches. Then I look back and I was like, I like this verse. This is like, be joyful when you face trials of many kinds because it builds perseverance and endurance, right? And then eventually you'll lack nothing. And at first I used to think that was pretty bad. So one of the hardest lessons was learning nobody's going to work for your passion the way they said that like you will. And then a lot of people really won't work on their passions the way they say they will. And it's not a way to compare. Like you'll look at them and wonder like, why aren't you working for your passion? Like, okay, if it's not my passion, I get it, but yours. But when they take from what you're doing and they don't really show that effort and it seems manipulative, that's probably one of the hardest lessons because I like the way you do one thing is the way you do everything. I'm a big, I love violence. I love fighting, but I'm also a big lover. And like perfect? Heck no.
The lesson there is almost like just take control of your own destiny. Don't rely on other people. If you want something to happen, you have to take the action and the responsibility to make it happen.
And I used to reject that. I used to think like, no, we can all do it together. And my trainer dude, he's like, you think everybody could be a world champion? He would always laugh like, he can fight. He's like, please do not put that person in a cage. I'm like, why not? He's like, you just don't get it. I used to my first trainer until he says like, you just don't get it. Like, I'm like, if you work hard, you go in there, you clench your fist, you bite, he's like, not the same, right? They're level of athletes and people and you get it. But you heard that phrase, like I used to reject exactly what you just said, which is the truth, right? I would say, they say if you want to get something done right, sometimes you just have to do it yourself. And then I believe that eventually like, you start building teams and companies and people. And then I look at people like in your position, like how many people make the excuse not to have a podcast or how many people make the excuse not to go after it? And you're working with 805, you work with Firestone, you're working with Ford, right? Like that's so cool to me. And like the fact that you're doing that to me will always be an inspiration. I was following your page. I was like, what the freak? This is cool. And like looking at you, like, that's really cool. That inspires me. But if you never went out for it, maybe I would have been encouraged to continue to pursue things. And that was one of the most challenging, but one of the biggest blessings because now as things start to shape up and turn, you're like, okay, like you weren't on the wrong path, but you could really, I'm just supernaturally stubborn, which I think is a gift from God. And it also could be a curse sometimes. But the stubbornness of it is like, okay, we're not going to give up on this, but we're going to take a few moments to just reevaluate.
Well, there's different chapters in your life where you're focused on different things. Like right now, you're working towards this fight. So like motorcycling maybe takes a backseat a little bit for a time being because you're focused on this goal right now. And then you get through that and you can maybe shift back into riding and photography a little bit until your next fight comes up and you shift back into that. That's just kind of natural. Outside of fighting, what do you want people to remember about you at the end of the day?
I want people to remember me so that I love them. Like that, like per that show, like Christ loved, not because I'm perfect, that I've done the worst. Like killed nobody, but you would admit that on a podcast anyway. But no, that I just love people, man. That hopefully they're around me and they felt a little bit of light, each day that we hung out. But they know that if they worked with me, that I was making all the sacrifices that I can to help them succeed and then help the team succeed, right? Like I always think it's like, you just focus on the goal to make it about you, that never works. But if you focus on the goal to make it about us, whether we did really well or we failed or it's something, but I hope that experience then would be something memorable. Even if like my dad always say, hate me now, love me later. I hope that people one day can always just say like, man, he really sacrificed and gave his all for it to come. And then as a son, I want my parents just to be like proud of me. As a brother, to my siblings, I would be proud to say that how much I love them. As a man, like boyfriend, I want her to know that like I love her like no other. And then when I do get to become a dad and a husband one day, like that, no matter how active I am, no matter how many cool, great business endeavors, world changing things that we will do and do, that my kids will say like, dang, like dad is so loving. Like I want to be famous in my own home. I don't like social media, like love to use it, but I'm not really here to be like, my life is people get to ask me questions and I'm so grateful for that. But I want my kids to like, one day I'm going to say like, he has all this attention. It's about him, about him, about him. What do you need? You're getting driven here, you're doing this.
You want your kids bragging about you at school.
Yeah, like I want them to be like, my dad. And like, is your dad a fighter? Yeah, he was a fighter. He has this many world titles. He did this, did this,
That's
did this.
cool.
But it's like, we don't even talk about that part of that. Like, that's cool. Like he has a plaques like in his basement or den that he, like, I don't even hang up posters. My friend hung up my posters or belts or I want my kids to say, dad is so cool. Like when he has movie night one day, he goes all out. He built like a freaking projector for a drive-in theater back of the house. Like who knows, by the time my kids, maybe they have like floating theaters and AI and stuff. I want them to say that he still will like take us camping. And if my kid hates fighting, like he taught us how to fight, how to protect ourselves. But if my kid loves pottery, he did the pottery classes with me. Like I just want to be fully attentive. And I want my parents to be around and see we in our culture, we say cocos, but grandkids. And they know their cocos, which are their grandparents. And I want my wife one day to say, God, he loves me like Christ loved the church. And I know the worst and worst. I know his worst of the worst. I know the pain. I know the mistakes he made. I know the time I want them to know the time he did not represent Christ at all. And you were like, who is that devil? And then all of a sudden you're like, the person he is today is the best version of himself every single day. Like the way I take care of myself, the way I love people, the companies I lead. And then the day that I die, go to heaven, I want God just to say, well done, my good and faithful servant. That's all I want. The money's going to come, money can go, like, but I don't want love to leave my life. And that's it. Like, I want, like, yeah, like he's an artist. I want you to call me in 10, 15, 20, 30 years. Like, what's up? I'm like, oh, just riding. Well, we dropped the bike here. We're good. Like, like we're doing a great life. Like that to me is what I want. And then
I'm really wanting to do a ride down to the Keys in the winter when it's more cool.
Yeah.
I'll hit you up. Maybe we could ride motorcycles.
That'd
go
be
for
fun.
like a little ride for a day or two down to the islands. That'd be fun.
I would love to. The furthest south I rode was the Key Largo, and it's beautiful. Down to the islands would be cool.
Yeah, that'd be fun.
And I
speaking of staying in touch.
Yes, please, yes, stay in touch on that. And I just say like that'll be important to me. Like I what's so important is like that one day we can just talk again and talk again and talk again. You build these lifelong friends, and
totally
that to me matters more than a lot of like flashiness,
Same. I mean, that's been the most valuable thing in my career path. I've been able to be creative and travel the world and like build my life around motorcycling and adventure.
That's so cool.
But the best thing is like the friendships I've made along the way. You know, most of my best friends come from my professional endeavor. I've met these people through what I'm doing, and it's like the most valuable thing, more than the salary, more than anything. It's cool.
Right. Those moments, those connections, you can't put a price on them,
Yeah.
Can't put a price on them.
So what's next for you? What's the next adventure that you're committing to?
Next adventure I'm committing to. So that's career-wise, starting with this this Big Four accounting firm, a consulting firm, right? I'm excited about that. More titles, all this, but I really do want to be married. I want to become a dad. I want to have a family. I want to grow. And like people say, oh, when you have kids, you're not going to have this adventure. I want to look back at them and just say like, you see a little little kid on that bike and we're riding together on that horse and we're doing it, I want them to say like, how did you do it? Because it's always like, oh, you're so obsessed. You never sleep. You never do this. Like, yeah. And then when I have kids, like my prayer is that I could just take them all over the world and see it. And my parents don't have to work anymore. That's a big part of this adventure that I'm committing to, that they can just come down, be around their future grandkids, enjoy life, or whatever God takes them home, he takes them home. But like for the next 34 years to 20, whatever his plan is, and I believe it'll be, they live healthy, that God bless them, just like 40, 50 years, whatever it is, like that they can just enjoy those days and never have to worry because you're doing so long. That adventure and art and moto, all that can come together where there's so many different pots on the fire that they can all eat off of it. And like, yeah, just that's what I want to do. So maybe a little road trip after my fight, like if it's like physical, like go to California.
A celebration.
Yeah, celebrate, spend time with grandma family.
Just a quick ride to California.
Right, yeah. Well, fly over there. We gotta like drive back. She lives in LA. But yeah, enjoy that time to start that chapter of life and really see the gym grow. I want to see the kids in the gym like who do want to be fighters do great. I want to see people go to school, go to college. I want to see them realize like you don't just have to be an athlete just for the fight. I don't want you to think because you're not from the best area you can't become. I want to set up programs that they can have insurance. I want to obviously put like for the gym, like the transfer have insurance also, but make great careers and salaries. But I want to see the kids understand like talk to this doctor, talk to this dentist, talk to this brick mason, talk to this architect, talk to this chef, and just like make those connections. Because I'm grateful that people will want to speak to me because I'm a fighter, but I want to funnel it right back to the kids and the people in the gym, like to say like, let's do something. And you just took the time.
Also, like you've done in your life, explore your options, see what you really like, try different things, like find your calling.
That's exactly what I want. Because I tell people like it's cool being a fighter, but it's not cool at the same time. Like, okay, like you can do this, but, and then I don't want them to get pigeonholed where people tell you this is what you can't be, this is what you are. It's just, no, I want people to walk into that gym. They can be whatever they want to be with excellent discipline, faith, and know they're unconditionally loved. Every option that they have in front of them is truly available. And that's what I want.
Oh man. Well, thank you for the time.
I appreciate
It's been good.
Thanks for having me.
Really appreciate you.
Thank you so much. Thank you for the gift. This is awesome.
Yeah.
Man.
Try it out. Let me know.
Yeah. I'm excited about it.
I mean, it's just water, but it's enhanced. It's really good for recovery, really good for the mental, the physical. It's cool. Try it out. But yeah, we'll talk soon, brother.
For sure.
You.
Thank you.
I want to give a shout out to a really special partner of mine. I've been working with 805 Beer for close to a decade now. And honestly, it's more than just a beverage company to me. It's a symbol of a lifestyle that I believe in. 805 was born on the central coast of California, the 805, a place where life moves to the rhythm of surf, moto, music, and open roads. And whether you're out riding, jamming with friends, or just soaking in the last light of the day, 805 is right there with you. It's not about hype, it's about living fully and embracing every moment. But what makes 805 truly special is their commitment to sustainability. They've been brewing for generations and relentlessly focused on preserving the land that they call home, conserving water, reducing waste, and protecting what matters, the land where we live and play. They support the raddest events and the sickest athletes. But most importantly, they support the culture. That's why 805 has become a staple in my life.